Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
Kansas City 31, San Francisco 20. Mahomes takes the snap. He is just going to throw it long for Demarcus Robinson. It is going to use up all the time. The game is over, and the Chiefs' kingdom has firmly planted its flag on top of football's highest summit. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 54.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff. Well, good Thursday evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Joe Mays J-Raff Show. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and with me via telephone is Justin Raffoff.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's crazy. It's a Thursday, but you know, when it's been so long since we've had an actual sporting event to talk about, you know, figured why not?
Yeah, really, we haven't talked about actual sport occurrence in 5 weeks, I think, right around there or so.
Too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long since something meaningful and not relating to the coronavirus has happened in the world. So we're going to take full advantage of what tonight has to offer, and after this, it may be another 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks until something meaningful happens in the sporting world. And I pray it's not any longer than that. But we never know. We never know how things are going to go. But yeah, NFL draft getting ready to get started. Unfortunately, my feed is about a minute behind Justin's, I think. So Justin's probably going to be leading the way here in terms of relaying the picks, and we'll see it on our screen momentarily. But we're here to provide instant discussion about, you know, do we like it? Do we hate it? What would we have done differently? And there's been a lot of discussion, and maybe it feels heightened more so this year than in the last 5 or so years, just because there is very little else to talk about. But I feel like, you know, we basically all but know Joe Burrow is going number 1 to Cincinnati, and it hasn't been, I think, officially confirmed, but like there's been stuff out there that has almost made it that way. But after that, it's a little bit of a crapshoot, which I guess isn't all that different than any other year. But it'd be interesting to find out if the Redskins hold true at 2, do the Lions stay put at 3, what's going on with the Giants at 4, and then you got Miami sitting at 5. And I don't think it's just because I'm a Dolphins fan. I think Miami is an interesting topic of conversation for all draft and football fans because of the ammunition they have, their need for a quarterback, and just all of the chatter going on with what they're going to do or try to do or who do they want. What's your take on the top 5 of the draft, Justin?
It's crazy, especially with the talk the last day or so of, yeah, and they could all be rumors, you know what I mean, with the Dolphins, you know, but all that talk about how they had reportedly tried to get up to 1 or as high as they could, and it'll be interesting to see if that actually happens or if it doesn't, if they stay put, or if they're just trying to drive up the price for someone else who's looking to go up. Like, it'll be really interesting to kind of see what happens. I don't know. It'll be weird to kind of. Well, it's just weird kind of watching because it's just so different than, you know, the packed, you know, studio or packed streets or whatever that, you know, they've been doing the last few years. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, you know, and I think Cincinnati is probably set on Burrows. Otherwise, why not entertain dropping out. You know what I mean? And collecting a king's ransom or as much as you can. So it'll be interesting. So
Right. Now,
I did see a couple Eagles fans sites mention how Jerry Jones drafting by himself without his son there to kind of like reel him in could be a great thing.
see,
So,
I understand that and the jokes about Jerry Jones and everything, but if you look back on his first round picks, they actually are very good. I saw someone posted,
Right.
I think the last 10 years, even like the one he traded away worked in their favor.
Right.
The biggest miss was Morris Claiborne.
Right.
That was a swing and a miss, but there was one other one, but like 8 out of the 10 were used wisely.
Right. The things I was reading were more just along the lines of without Steven in the room to like reel him in, they're hoping he just crashes and burns.
Yeah.
Just pure fan stuff. But.
True, yeah, for sure. So I do have up my feed of the draft, which I'm streaming through ESPN. Hopefully, it doesn't get us shut down. As long as I don't go full screen, I think we'll be okay. I can't guarantee that. Roger Goodell is talking now from his living room. I don't know if you saw him post how the setup and the production was going to happen at his house. This final image I'm seeing now looks a lot different than the thing that he posted earlier, where there was just stuff everywhere, like production equipment everywhere. And of course, the final product is very polished, which is what I'd expect from the NFL Network and ESPN ABC. So,
and the Bengals are now on the clock.
Okay, so you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have to keep us up to date because you're a good minute in front of us, I believe. Because on my screen, Roger Goodell just turned to his television to see the box of 12 different fan groups, I think.
Yeah, they've got like 15 fan groups or 15 blocks of Bengals fans up, like individual things, and now they're going into what they're at. So yeah, the Bengals still have almost 9.5 minutes left. So,
all right, well, Roger Goodell is still on my screen, so. Yeah, so he just officially opened it and put the Bengals on the clock. So we might be more like 90 seconds behind the live feed. But, I mean, do we really think this will be anything other than Burrow? So,
it's got to be Burrow.
It's got to be Burrow. I like that they have the Madden. Wow, they have special Madden graphics being posted right now. I don't know if you caught that before, but so Burrow goes to Cincinnati. What do you think Washington does? Do you think there's...
I think they take Chase Young. I
feel like that has to be the overwhelming expectation. Right. I know they were open to a trade maybe.
Right, but he's the best player in the draft. It's not like... I don't know. It would be one thing if... I feel like if it was almost flipped, like if the Bengals were taking Chase Young, then maybe they'd try even more to trade out, you know what I mean, to get out of there.
Yeah.
Even if they were looking for a quarterback, which I know they're not, but even if they were, because they could maybe take their pick of whoever they want, but later on. But yeah, I mean, I think they go with Chase Young. To me, it gets interesting at 3 with Detroit. I think they're going to try to look them out
actively and openly saying, "Hey, we're available for a trade. Do anyone want to change?" And they seem to be the first real question mark, because do they sit there and draft someone like a cornerback to replace Darius Slay, which obviously ended up in Philadelphia via trade? Do they take an offensive lineman? I don't think they're in the market for one of the quarterbacks. Even with Stafford, now in he's about to or is entering the second decade of his career, close to it, and he was injured most of last year. I still am fairly high on Detroit, not as like a Super Bowl contender, but I don't think they're as bad as they ended up being last year. And with Stafford coming back, if they get some help, whether that's on offense or defense, I don't think Detroit's in that bad of a situation. But
but here's the thing, like I look at Detroit, I feel like if I can trade back and get more help, that is going to help me. I don't think they're in that total rebuild, like you said, But honestly, they're at a tough spot, because if they take that pick at number 3, I don't know that that's enough to get them to be one of the top 2 teams in their division,
Right.
like that. And that's where it's kind of tough. So the Lions are in a bad spot because they're not good, but I don't know what the answer is. Like, you keep, I'm a Matt Stafford believer. Like, I don't think he's like the top quarterback in the league, but I think he's good enough. I just think the Lions they've never been able to put it together with him there. You know what I mean? Early on, he had some weapons, but the last few years, I feel like he's more made the weapons than he's had. But
I don't see any way that this isn't Burrow for the Bengals, unless Washington's
Right.
overwhelmed with the trade. It's got to be Chase Young, and then we're really waiting on Detroit.
right. So on a separate note, do you think the Browns are going to make a trade tonight?
I know. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about that, as that is related to. Oh, you know what? Before it gets lost, I sent you a picture of this, but the real thing came in the mail today. So I want to make sure everyone can see this. This is a new mini helmet in my collection.
Oh, yeah.
It's wonderful. Very patriotic. Nice throwback type symbol there with a few edits to that Patriot symbol, in case you can see it if I get my webcam to properly focus. It keeps trying to focus on me. There we go. Let's see. How's that look? That looks good. I really like that. Came in just today. Nice custom mini helmet. So if my uncle's watching, if you'd like one, I could certainly send one your way. But this one's going to be added to the collection and stay here in the Joe Mays J-Raff studios and be on display for all to see. This is a good one. I like to have it. So, all right. I think all right, end of that feedback loop we had going there for a second. Chrome decided to unmute the Facebook video, so that was wonderful.
Yeah.
So the Bengals have already wasted over 5 minutes, 6 minutes. What are they waiting for? Like, they know this pick. If they weren't going to trade to start, why are they waiting? I never understand this.
I think maybe they're thinking maybe the Dolphins. I'm just using the Dolphins just because they have so much here.
Right.
But I'm thinking maybe they just are waiting to see, will the Dolphins, not for lack of a better term, panic. You know what I mean? And put it all together, or I don't know. That's my only thought. But
yeah, I don't know what to think about that. It's what would it take to trade up to that point? I mean, we've seen at least 2-3 first-round picks. I mean, they have 3 alone in this draft, but are those?
The pick is in.
Oh, the pick is
Bengals
in.
now.
Okay, so it's not traded.
Yeah,
so it's Joe Burrow.
3 minutes left. Right, with about 3 minutes left on the clock, the pick is in.
I like how Booger McFarland is here.
Phone is down. He and his parents are just watching the TV. It looks like.
It's not Burrow. It's Chase Young.
Is it?
No. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's got a hat in his hand. I couldn't see what kind of hat it was.
I would assume that he has a hat for the Bengals. I would think.
Yeah, but I just mean he had it in his hand, so you couldn't see the logo. So, but yeah, I mean,
there's just no reason it should be taking this long.
No.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense for them to take this long to announce the first pick. But like you said, I mean, unless someone was trying a last-second Hail Mary, but clearly that wasn't going to happen.
No. Well, that's the thing. They would have, if they wanted that to happen, it would have been out there, they would have made it happen. My guess is they were just trying to push. But if you're them and you think that Joe Burrow is your guy, then nothing's going to get you to trade out of that spot anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. Oh, I know you're not on video, but there's no
Okay, here we go. Here we go to Roger Goodell.
No, finally. There's no JMNJR radio requirements for promotions because I just cracked open a Coca-Cola. So I know you're not
Joe
on
Burrow
video.
is,
So.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So Joe Burrow is the pick.
Oh, what a surprise. Hey, pick one is in. Only took 25 minutes.
Yeah. It is 8:26, and we are now one pick in.
One pick in. My uncle's watching. He just texted me. He said, sure, I will take one of those special helmets with the camera on it from you for my man cave. I'll put it right next to the deflated football you gave me. He still has the deflated football.
By the way, Joe Burrow's hat that he had in his hand was a Bengals hat.
Oh, if you were about to say it was a Dolphins hat, I would have freaked out.
Yeah, can you imagine if he did it like, how cool would it have been if they went to him like that, and had him do it like college recruitment style, where he just picks up a hat. And, that's how they announced, he's like, the Dolphins traded for my rights.
That's great. Hey, it still could happen. It happened, 16 years ago with Rivers and Manning, right?
In a positive note, it looks like they put the Redskins on the clock when the pick went in, not when they announced the pick.
Oh, good. So there's 8 minutes left now or something?
6:40 left.
Oh, wow.
For the Redskins. Yeah. So maybe I missed something there, but I'm all in favor of that, whatever happened.
Well, it's good to know that my uncle is watching and has a good sense of humor for all the stuff that we throw at him pretty much every week. Even when he's not able to watch, we always have something to say about the Patriots.
To be fair, if anyone has should be okay with it, it should be them because they were so good for so long.
Yeah,
right?
I would love to hear it.
I would love to have his thoughts on the Gronk,
right,
retiring and coming back. And
so, hey, Uncle Rich, if you're still listening, I hope you are. Text me or email me quickly sometime this evening. Let me know what you think about Brady and the Gronk news. And we're going to talk in the coming months about the hopeful upcoming season. I know I did get an email from him. You know what? I'm not sure I can. Oh, here we go. There's links to them. They're Tampa Bay memes, so I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into when I open these. It's from NFL memes, and their stuff is usually pretty hilarious. So let me see which ones he was sending my way. Okay, here, let's see if I can get a screen share. Yeah, here we go. All right, so for those of you watching, this is one of the ones that my uncle sent along from NFL memes. It is the Patriots logo, but the hat portion is colored Buccaneers red with the Buccaneers logo on it. That is the Buccaneers' new logo, it says. So that's very, very well done. It looks, you know what? That might be the only one that he sent me because it looks like it opened twice. So that's well done. I like it. I appreciate it. It's funny. But Brady and Gronk are the only thing that made up the Patriot way. So if Tampa Bay really wants to become New England South, they've got a lot of work to do. And really only 1 or 2 years to do it. So
yeah, I mean, it's now, don't get me wrong, Gronk has been very important for them over the years. However, hasn't played a full schedule since 2011. Now, he was out last year, so his body should be good. Oh, yeah, the Redskins pick is in, by the way. So they haven't announced it yet. But, I mean, so the fact that they're not indicating a trade, at least yet.
Right, I feel like they would do that immediately. So
right. It's got to be, well, it doesn't have to be, but I'd be stunned if it's not Chase Young, who's kind of a consensus best player
Yeah, I would be
available
very, very
on-
surprised.
on every list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not real happy. Like there's this theme the last few years of like Big Ten players that I like or don't like, but are very good, going to teams that I don't like. For example, Saquon Barkley going to the Giants.
Yeah.
Or
Well, but
or
I mean,
Chase Young,
you did
who I
get
don't like, but
Miles
he's very
Sanders
good.
last year. I mean,
I
come
did.
on.
Yes, he did.
Can't be that greedy.
Right. And I'm hoping for KJ tomorrow night. But
Well, yeah, and you're gonna get.
that's
What if
ahead
you
of
get
ourselves.
your tour tonight and KJ tomorrow?
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. Paul Roberts tweeted that out earlier.
Oh, did he? Nice.
Yeah, he said, "Are we going to hear We Are chants at the link?"
Well, here, while we wait for the Redskins pick, let me know when Goodell's on. And,
Yeah, I'll tell you when they clip the video.
we also got an email after the show we did 2 weeks ago, and I didn't, or actually I guess it was technically 3 weeks ago because we didn't have a show 2 weeks ago, and then last week I said I was going to talk about it, but we never got to. And this goes back to our MLB talk when we were doing the Mount Rushmores. Your dad actually sent me an MLB.com
Yeah.
write-up from Richard Justice about the all-time best MVPs at each position. And after we talked about the Rushmore for Philadelphia and talked about our Philly stuff, he thought maybe this would be interesting to us, and I do find it interesting. This is the first time I'm seeing it. I hadn't pulled it up until right now. And obviously there's some very good selections here, but I think he might have been pointing out that they do not have Mike Schmidt at third base.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did you read this article? Or did you see this? No, they have George Brett.
For the Phillies?
No, I'm saying this is the best MVP at each position like ever in all of baseball. Yeah, because they got Babe
I was
Ruth
thinking
and
of
Roger
another
Schwartzman.
email he had sent me.
No, this is about all-time best MVP at each position. There are no Phillies. There are 3 Cardinals.
Yeah, see,
2 Yankees.
He had sent me an email before about how Mike Schmidt is the MLB is doing like the best at each position for each team, and they had Mike Schmidt as the best Phillies third baseman ever, and in there it said strong argument for the best ever.
Well, here, spoiler, he was the honorable mention, so he was the runner-up to George Brett. So Robinson was not even mentioned.
All right. In another, the reason I go with Brooks Robinson as number 2 is just because I think he won like 16 Gold Gloves or something absurd.
Yeah, defensively ridiculous.
Right. Yes. But when they sent out the one for the greatest shortstop for each team, Jim Jones was the Phillies' number 1 pick, and he made my Rushmore, and that's why so that one caught my attention. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, here, I'll quick read it before they get this pick in. So, catcher was Johnny Bench. Honorable mention was Roy Campanella. And I guess what I'm getting here now as I read this is I think it's by the best individual season. Go. Okay, you up? Okay.
Yep. Sorry.
Right. No, that's fine. We'll come back to it.
Chase Young is the pick for Washington.
Of course. Well, yeah, what a surprise.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise at all. So, Chase Young is the pick for the Redskins at number 2. So pick 1 and pick 2 go exactly as people have been saying for months, I think. I think this is the way it's been expected since December, maybe.
Yep. Exactly.
At least February at the latest, but I mean, it might have been dating back to the end of the football season. Everyone was like, well, Burrow will go to 1 and Young will go 2, and that's exactly what happened. So until Detroit either selects a player or makes a trade, I'll go over the baseball thing here. So I believe the way they're qualifying this is it's the best individual season by an MVP because it specifically mentions Johnny Bench 1970 Reds. It doesn't just say Johnny Bench Reds. It says a specific season. So if they would redo this and do like over the course of a career, maybe Mike Schmidt or Brooks Robinson gets the nod at third base, but because it's an individual season, they went with George Brett.
Individual season. That makes sense.
So Johnny Bench was the catcher. Roy Campanella was the honorable mention. Albert Pujols was first base. Lou Gehrig was honorable mention. Rogers Hornsby, second base with Joe Morgan, the honorable mention. George Brett, third. Mike Schmidt, honorable mention. Ernie Banks, Cal Ripken Jr., outfield, Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, with Willie Mays getting the honorable mention. Willie Mays, greatest baseball player of all time, but not even on this list, or not even a starter on this list, I should say. Designated hitter, Don Baylor and Frank Thomas. Starting pitcher, Bob Gibson and Walter Johnson. Relievers, Willie Hernandez and Raleigh Fingers. One of the greatest names of all time, Raleigh Fingers. So they had a little baseball talk during our NFL draft coverage, but that was a good article sent by your dad that I wanted to make sure we talked about as it related to our Mount Rushmores that we did about 3 weeks ago.
Right. Now, to be honest, Jimmy Rollins, I'm looking at it, Jimmy Rollins' 2007 year, I believe that's the year he had the 2020.
Yeah, which is like only the second person to do it, or is he the only person to do it?
He's the fourth, but two did it that year. Curtis Granderson did it that year, too.
Oh, okay.
Willie Mays, I think, did it, and then, someone I'd never heard of did it. But, just to kind of give you an idea. But he also won a Gold Glove that year.
Right.
So think about that. A 2020 season, only 4 players have ever done that. And a Gold Glove in the same season. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's the greatest shortstop of all time. But I'm saying he is severely underrated.
He's underrated outside of Philadelphia for sure.
Right.
There's people in Philadelphia that probably overrate him, but outside and over the course of the entire baseball community, I think he's probably underrated. But again, we're Phillies fans.
The Lions pick is in, by the way.
All right, so mine is showing 2:45 left on the Detroit clock, so I don't know how far behind we are.
I don't notice when it went. But
we're just seeing the Chase Young reaction. They had just showed the highlights, but they went to him to show the family.
We're showing a Chase Young video here.
Okay, yeah, we're just seeing Chase Young compared to Jadeveon and Clowney. So, which Clowney's still available.
Yeah, this will be. I really don't know which direction Detroit goes here.
Well, I would assume if they were making a trade, it would have already happened. So I guess the Dolphins aren't moving up.
So
I'm going to change this now. They're about to show Chase Young against Penn State. We don't need to see that.
Yeah, I
don't need to see any of that. So, yeah, next time we have some downtime in between picks, maybe I'll pull up the Draft Network or Draft Simulator, Mock Draft Simulator, or go to drafttech.com and check out their continuously updated draft model. After the Detroit pick, which I think the odds-on favorite, at least most of the mocks were showing it be Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback from Ohio State. The Giants then are an interesting pick as well because not only could they be a trade candidate, I don't know who they're going to pick.
Right, here we go.
So the pick is in and they're about to be announced.
Yeah.
All right, who's Detroit taking?
Jeff Okudah.
It is Okudah?
Yep, Okudah.
All right,
which is who Draft Tech had him picked as.
Honestly, I'm not sure I saw one that didn't have him there. So it's far been a good. If you listen to the draft experts, they're 3 for 3, and now we get to the Giants, and I think this becomes a bit of a toss-up. Could it be one of the offensive tackles? I like Tristan Wirfs from Iowa. A lot of people like Wills from Alabama. Right. There's questions about Andrew Thomas from Georgia and Mekhi Becton from Louisville. All 4 of those could go in the top 10. Expected to go probably the 4 of them no later than the top 15. But the Giants could also go a different direction and possibly take, I don't know, do you think they're in the market for a wide receiver? Or do they go defensive playmaker like Simmons from Clemson? There's a lot of ways they could go.
I think you have to go with offensive tackle here, in my opinion, just because you look at how bad their offensive line is, and you look at what you've invested in offensive weapons the last 2 years, like if you don't protect them, those guys, well, this will be Saquon's third year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They essentially have him for 2 more, because they'll absolutely exercise his option.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. So, but okay, so when are you going to start building your offensive line? You know what I mean? Like, you have a rookie quarterback last year. I feel like it would be foolish, in my opinion, to not pick an offensive lineman here. That being said, I mean, to me, Isaiah Simmons is absolutely a difference maker, and if you're not picking a tackle here, I feel like that's your pick. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
they're obviously not picking a quarterback. Who else are you going to take? You know what I mean? Like, they're not taking a defensive tackle. They're not.
No, I would highly doubt it.
Right, and it would be a stretch to take. It would be a stretch to take a defensive back. I mean, and honestly, with how deep the receivers are, I feel like you could trade out of this spot maybe
And get one
you
of
know
them
what
later.
I mean? If you were looking to take a receiver and come back
Right.
somewhere else in the first round, So
Yeah, I feel like the
I
best
think
value
because-
need is a tackle. Yeah, offensive tackle.
right, because and you're guaranteed to get the tackle you want. Because
Right.
none
of them have been taken.
Tackles. So whatever one you think is the one, that's the one you get. It's not.
Right.
So I feel like the Giants have to be happy that this has played out this way. Obviously, if Chase Young or someone had dropped to them, maybe that would be great. But short of that, Chase Young wasn't going to drop, because if he wasn't picked 2, somebody would have traded with Detroit, I think, to get him there, or Detroit would have taken him.
Right.
But yeah.
So now we're just waiting for the Giants to make a pick.
Yeah, and it tells me right now that there's 4:40 left for them.
Okay, so you're basically an entire minute in front, because mine says 5:34 left for the Giants right now. So I wonder if I could refresh this, if that would help at all or not, if that would just screw things up even more. But I guess that's kind of what I've come to see, that anytime I stream it, it's usually at least 45 seconds, if not a minute and a half behind what's on broadcast. So okay, so there was just 10 people in that last shot that I saw. So already I get one of the prop bets.
Yeah, I think I do too. I don't know what number that was.
Well, there were 7 people on screen and 3 off of it, but that counts. There are 10 people in that room.
Okay, the highest number of people in a room with a drafted player. You picked over?
Yeah, I picked over.
It was 9.5. I did too.
Do you have yours in front of you? We can run through these while we wait for the pick.
I only have the first 8 in front of me.
Okay, that's fine. I can read the other ones to you, and you can tell me what you think you took.
Yeah, it'll have to be what I think I took, though.
Okay, that's
none
fine.
of them were informed decisions.
So because this is run by Joe V, first one has to be related to the Browns, because I'm sure he's running this for his buddies that are fellow Browns fans. And then you and I get lumped in there as the afterthought NFL fans. And he's just like, here, we can make some money off of these goofs. So, all right, number 1, Browns make a trade in the first round, and dumb ones do count. I actually said no. I think they're gonna stay put. I guess technically maybe if they trade back into it, I guess that would also be technically a trade in the first round. So
I picked yes, but I did not pick the yes that includes the current Browns player. I just said yes.
Yeah, I said no. Now that I'm seeing that's worth less points than yes, I'm kind of upset I didn't go with yes. I didn't notice that one had a conditional point spread there. I actually think no should have been worth more, because we've seen a lot more trades in recent. I think last year there were like 18 first-round trades or something like that. So now I'm kind of upset I didn't go with yes on that. I went with no. But all right, number 2 prop bet was highest number of people in a room with a drafted player, over 9.5 or under 9.5. You and I both said we took the over, and we should have already gotten that one correct. So that's 2 points for us right there, which I'm happy about that. I'm definitely happy about that. So number 3, on the prop bet list is, when is Isaiah Simmons drafted, the linebacker from Clemson? I went with B, pick 6 to 9.
That's what I went with. I went 6 to 9.
I debated whether going 1 to 5 just because I thought there was a chance maybe the Giants would be interested, but then I reconsidered that.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just thinking that I think he'll go like 7, 8, or 9, maybe with someone trading up. But I actually my next.
Well, that's the thing too. I feel like once you get past the Dolphins, not that I don't think the Dolphins are taking him, but like at that 6th pick or so, like I feel like it's free game where somebody may be trading up to get him at that point.
Right, and pick 6 is the Chargers, and if they're fully invested in Tyrod Taylor and they're not interested in picking Herbert or Love in the 6 to 9 range, maybe they drop back into the 12 to 15 range and can pick one of the quarterbacks there, and get a few extra picks just because they can. So I went with 6 to 9. So number 4 is who will be the second wide receiver drafted. I went with Henry Ruggs.
Okay, I went with Jerry Jeudy.
I think Lamb will be first.
Yeah, me too.
And I know some people like Ruggs more than Jeudy. So I could be completely wrong on that. Maybe I picked the wrong Alabama guy there. I almost said other and went with Jefferson because there was some late rumors that some teams liked him better than a lot of other people had in the process. And you could see Jefferson jump up and be maybe 2nd or 3rd picked instead of being 4th or 5th, because Denzel Mims is out there too, which if you're an Eagles fan, you're probably aware of all these names, as you hope one or two of them are called when Philadelphia's on the clock.
Yes.
So, okay, so that was number 4. How many defensive players will be drafted in the first round? 14.5. Did you go over or under?
I went over.
So did I. I went over as well. Who will the 5th pick hug first? So this is supposed to be the Dolphins pick. I went with parents.
I went with parents as well.
Okay. In inanimate object, I wasn't sure what exactly that could be. A trophy, a football, I'm not really sure. No one practicing social distancing, not a chance. No way was that happening.
The Giants pick is in.
Okay. So number 7, third offensive lineman drafted. I went with Becton.
I went with Thomas.
You went with Thomas. Okay. I was deciding between Becton and Thomas because I think Wills or Wirfs will be 1, 2. And then it'll be who will be next, and Becton or Thomas. I went with Becton, but Thomas was my next choice. Number 8, this was an interesting one. Total animals shown during first round. Over or 3.5. Over or under?
I went under.
I went under as well because I wasn't really sure why they were going to be showing animals.
They're going to Goodell now.
Oh, they're going to Goodell. Pick. Okay, so let's find out who the Giants are picking. Joe Judge, the new Giants head coach, he's got New England ties. And
Andrew Thomas went number 4 to the Giants.
Andrew Thomas was the first tackle picked.
Yeah,
wow.
So I did not get that one.
Wow. Thomas is the first tackle. Oh, there goes my bonus. I said the Browns were going to pick Andrew Thomas.
I know, me too. That's who I picked.
Oh, man. I think it's time. We got to check in with Draft Network or Draft Tech or someone like that. I got to see what's going on there.
However, your boys are now on the clock.
That's right. I'm getting text. Who is this? Is this Adam making fun of me again? No, this is Paul. So
yeah, Draft Tech had Jedrick Wills projected to, but
all right. So want to see. Where's the
Draft Tech has them taking Tua, by the way, but not that you didn't know that.
All right, so Burrow, Young, Okuda. So yeah, they had Wills and then obviously Tua. Oh man, this will be super interesting.
I was a little surprised that Thomas was the first offensive tackle taken.
Yeah, because they had him going to Cleveland at 10.
Right. However, I mean, what did we just say for the Giants? Like, they have the choice of their guy. Whoever they want, they can go get him. And to be honest, that's exactly what they did last year with quarterbacks, right? They could have gone and gotten a number of guys, and they went with Daniel Jones instead, and we still have to wait and see how that plays out, but it certainly didn't look as bad as it was kind of projected to be on draft night. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
do you think Miami takes Wirfs or Wills here and just passes and tries to trade back up to get Tua or Herbert?
No, I think they take Tua here.
You think they just take Tua and then worry about a tackle later?
I think so.
It's interesting to me that Thomas is the guy there because I thought Wirfs or Wills would definitely be.
Tua is putting his headphones on and picking up his phone right now.
There we go.
But, I mean, you can't tell what that means. But
right.
Desmond Howard had his, Dolphins, I guess they sent him, a swag box or something.
Who, Desmond Howard?
Yeah. We have a comment on Facebook right now that says the Eagles should move up and redraft Brian Dawkins. To be honest, they need that safety. Tom Fleckenstein, my buddy from Columbia.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't see that.
We go way back, but they it's one of those where with the Eagles need a safety, I wouldn't be completely opposed to just shooting Brian Dawkins back up, but
yeah,
I mean, we could have used him at wide receiver last year. But.
So, all right. So, Draft Tech has the Thomas pick in, and they still have Miami getting Tua, which I'm agree with. I'm on board with. Part of me wanted to say they were going to throw a wrench in there and take one of the tackles, Wirfs or Wills. I always favored Wirfs, but
they have Andrew Thomas as a reach value of -9.
Yeah, well, so he was probably around 13 on their big board then.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, really, the top ones are tough because Burrow's considered a reach too. Well, he was the second best player,
right. Right.
Chase Young was a +1 because he was the best player taken at 2. But that's a bit of a reach to them because I'm sure they're saying he's not the best tackle. It looks that Wirfs was their best tackle, and I agree with them. I favored Wirfs. Wills was next, and then it was tough depending on the system if I wanted Becton or Thomas. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they went with him, but like I said, if that's their guy.
Yeah. Well, and
nice. It's interesting to me that the Dolphins haven't made their pick. I mean, I know what they always take their whole time. Okay. Austin informed me the Eagles pick 21.
Oh, okay. So. Thank you. Yes, the Eagles will be on the clock in about 4 hours from now.
Yeah. Austin wasn't super excited about the draft before, but he is super into it and doesn't want to go to bed. And he's saying, one more pick.
Well, there you go.
It makes me super proud.
What he should be saying is just 16 more picks.
Uncle Joey says, just 16 more picks. Now I'm in trouble.
So they're showing. I see Brian Flores here. He must be at the Miami office with his kids.
The Dolphins pick is in, by the way.
And there's. I think that there's. Oh yeah, now they're showing on my screen Chris Greer, and then neither of them is.
Pressure going up? Is your blood pressure going up?
Not really, because I have the ultimate trust and faith in Chris Greer and Brian Flores. I think as much as people were making fun of the Dolphins in September and October, once November came, things changed.
Yeah.
And, I'm giving them – I'm not a person that overreacts. I think they deserve at minimum 3 drafts.
Right. Well, we preached this all year. Brian Flores made a believer out of me this year. I don't know, whether or not the Dolphins will give him the pieces that are needed. That's a different question, and that's where you are better involved with that. But watching from that on-field product, as they continuously took key guys away from Brian Flores, and he continually made the team better and better throughout the year, they made the right guy. It
appears that way, yes. I'm very I was happy with it. He was the guy I wanted, a year plus ago when they were doing the hiring process. I said Brian Flores is the guy I want.
I saw a couple things this week that were saying if the Eagles don't pick a wide receiver, would you? Okay, here we go. Sorry, this is Roger Goodell.
All right.
Here we go. Tua is the pick.
Tua is the pick. All right.
There you go.
New quarterback.
There you go.
All right, Adam. Did they mess it up? I'm ready to hear that.
You can click process on the jersey. There you go.
Already, it's already ordered.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I'm happy for them, and I think, again, if you think he's the guy, you got to go with him, man. Like, the ceiling is so high for Tua. So.
Yeah. Oh, and the nice thing is, if they're concerned about short-term injury, they have Fitzpatrick there. They don't have to rush him. They can let him learn from a professional, a journeyman. He's been in the league. He's very cerebral. He's been a good leader before. He kind of steadied things when they brought him back in after they tried Rosen last year.
Yep.
I think it's a great move. So I'm gonna.
I agree. Ian?
The Miami Dolphins select
Tua
Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama.
Forward here.
Well, there it is, which means for the first time
when I
since
look at,
Kellen Moore, who is now the Cowboys' offensive coordinator, threw a pass. We're going to have a left-hander who's going to throw a pass.
All right, so Tua is the pick. Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, sorry, I was just having some mic issues. But I like the Tua pick, and like you said, they have Fitzpatrick there, and like, who knows what the offseason is going to look like? You know what I mean? So you have that built in too. You can be like, look, there was just a lot between the injury, between the offseason, all that stuff. We're just, he's not going to start right away if they want to. You know what I mean? Like they can. It is interesting though. Tua has a hat on, so he's got a hat on, like a Dolphins hat, but there are clearly 4 other hats sitting on the table.
Oh, are there?
Didn't necessarily know. He didn't necessarily know. But he opened up his suit jacket, and it looked like Miami Vice or nice. Miami Beach kind of sunset thing. It was pretty cool.
That's good. I like that.
So I'm happy. I'm happy for Tua.
I'm happy for me.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yes,
so,
yes. I see.
I
mean, another Dolphins fan is happy for Tua on the Facebook comments. So
I feel like this takes the pressure off, because if they would have gambled and taken a tackle there or traded out or something, then then they're always going to be talking about you could have had Tua or Herbert or Love, if they didn't end up getting one of those and they waited for next year.
Exactly.
Now you took your guy, and I saw a couple people today, including Nick Saban. Of course, he's talking up his player because it helps him recruiting wise. But he's saying, we passed on Drew Brees because we thought of there being a bad injury, and look how that turned out for Miami.
Right, and now he's on the other side. Like he can kind of speak to it. Like that's So. And I mean, it's interesting how Nick Saban is in a position now to just kind of own that. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those
15 years later or whatever it is.
Right. And the unrivaled success he's had at Alabama. Now, Clemson is climbing there, but they need to extend it like he did at Alabama. You know what I mean? But like, if he had ended up jumping around a number of different spots and never really got it to stick after Miami, I feel like that would be a much harder question to kind of, always be asked. But, I feel like Nick Saban's so into his Alabama stuff that he doesn't really care too much about it.
Yeah. So,
by the way, Draft Tech nailed for the first 5.
Good job. Good job, my buddies at Draft Tech. I know I know Dean, he's the Bills analyst. He was there with me the entire time. He's been there ever since. He's been working there for 12, 13 years, maybe even longer. He's the editor of the comments as they come in. Bills Mafia guy, great guy. And, all of Draft Tech is great. Warren, the owner and operator and kind of the originator of all this stuff, Great group of guys over there at Draft Tech. They were my number one draft site and have been for a long time. And I love the work that they do, as well as the Draft Network, which is the younger crew there that came about in the last, I guess, a little over 18 months. I think it started August 2018. So this is the second draft for that crew. But a Wilson grad is one of the head writers and one of the part of the brain trust over there, and Kyle Krabs. He played in the Wilson alumni game that I hosted this fall with the Tradition Club.
Yep.
And their stuff is amazing as well. So if you're looking for draft information and you don't want to just rely on the big boys like ESPN, CBS, and the like, definitely check out drafttech.com and thedraftnetwork.com. Both have great insights and people that are doing this for fun, and some that have turned it into a paid full-time job. So a lot of great stuff out there for them. I don't have any Draft Tech swag clothing-wise, but I am wearing my Draft Network shirt because it's something that I've basically lived my entire young adult life, which it says Draft Day every day, because that's what the Draft Network is, and that's how I thought from the late 90s till about 2016 or so, when I worked for 8 years for Draft Tech, and the draft was my life for like 20 years pretty much. I just focused on that because what's not to love? You're merging college football with professional football. You get the best of both worlds.
The Chargers pick is in. It's interesting because
no trades yet.
No, and I believe earlier Draft Tech in their live mock had Herbert as that sixth. Like it had Tua at 5 and then Herbert at 6. They now have Isaiah Simmons at 6.
Oh, because Simmons had dropped from the Giants pick, probably.
Probably, yes.
Although didn't they? I thought they had them taking Wirfs before. So it's interesting.
They have Wirfs now at 8 and Wills at 10 to Cleveland.
Okay.
It's interesting. You can't really tell much, but Justin Herbert does not look to be on the phone right now, but you have no idea.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I do see the Isaiah Simmons on drafttech.com to the Chargers, Jerry Jeudy at 7 to Carolina, Wirfs to Arizona at 8, Derek Brown to Jacksonville at 9, and Wills to Cleveland at 10. So we'll see how that plays out. But like you said, Draft Tech hitting on 4 of the first 5, just whiffing on the Giants pick. It'd be interesting to see any mocks that did have Andrew Thomas as OT1.
Here's the Chargers pick. Justin Herbert is the pick.
Okay, all right. So other than the wrench that the Giants threw into the machine, a lot of mock draft prognosticators are 5 of 6. 5 of 6. That's a very good results. It'll be interesting to see. Every year the Huddle Report runs a mock draft challenge, for professionals and for fans out there. And I think there's money involved at times. You can wager on a few sites and getting your mock draft right. I know the Draft Network ran one that you could win up to $25,000, where they were giving out a total of $25,000. And a lot of people, if they listen to the mock drafters this year, could be in line for some notoriety or even some cash, because I think a lot of people are going to be 5 of 6 at this point.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see the Tua comment from Draft Tech or Draft Network to see what the people are saying, because the more I think about it, the more I like it. Deep down, it's what I wanted. As much as I like someone like an offensive tackle, or I'm a big fan of Isaiah Simmons. I feel it had to be a quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven league. They've been searching for 21 years to find their Dan Marino. They've rotated through a ton of quarterbacks, and it was just time to do something. And think about it. A year and a half ago, during the fall of 2018, people were just saying, well, Tua is the number 1 pick when he comes out. Tua is the number 1 pick when he comes out. Last year, up until the injury, Tua is the number 1 pick. Look, Dolphins are 0-7. Tank for Tua. Well, here they are. They've gotten better. They made splashes in free agency, and they now have Tua, and they used the 5th pick to get him, not the number 1 pick.
Right, and they didn't have to trade. They got the guy they wanted, and they didn't have to trade. They still have 2 more first-round picks if they want them.
Right. So, and only 1 tackle has been taken so far. So Wirfs, Wills, Becton are all out there. So you got 3. We thought maybe there would be a run on them in the top 10. Now, obviously, we have 7, 8, 9, and 10 to go yet, and some of those teams need an offensive tackle, like the Browns at 10. But at the moment, things are looking pretty good. And Miami doesn't just need a quarterback and offensive tackle. There's other positions that Miami needs help at. Pass rusher is a big one, and none of those guys have been picked yet, whether it's from the linebacker and 3-4 position or if it's from your 4-3 traditional defensive end. They need to find an edge guy, and there's also opportunities to find interior offensive linemen with one of the later picks, like the one they got from Houston in the Laramie Tunsil trade. And right now it's shaping up, I think, well for Miami. They got Tua. They can check. That's a huge check mark on their ledger, and they can just sit back and see if someone starts to fall. They have the ammunition to move up.
Right, yeah. They can move up if they want to, or they can sit back, or they can trade out. If they're like, look, we want, 2 second-round guys or something. Well, they have a bunch of second-round. They've got so many weapons here. They can do whatever they want. I think they're off to a great start. They got their guy at 5. They didn't panic. I think that off to a great start for the Dolphins. And like you said, there's going to be a run on tackles here in a little bit, but tackle, there are a number of guys. So I think, if anything, I think they're not going to panic again and kind of wait and see who's there.
And that's how you do it correctly.
None of the pass rushers have been there or have gone yet. So, okay, if you don't get your tackle there, I'm not saying like you want to wait forever. Instead of reaching for a second-round grade tackle, get a high level or first-round level pass rusher. They have lots of options.
So, what do you think Tyrod Taylor's thinking right now? Here we go again.
Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know how you don't think that, though. You know what I mean? It's a business.
Oh, no, yeah, I absolutely.
But you've got to be disappointed. But it's not like he was already there. It's not like he went there. I feel like that would be worse.
Right. That makes a huge difference.
So just for example, is it Brian Hoyer that went back to
New England for the
Patriots?
3rd time? Yeah.
Yeah, and has been told you'll have a chance. Now I don't expect them to, but let's just say if they picked Jordan Love or someone up, late in the first round, that would stink if you're Brian Hoyer and they're like, yeah, we think you got a shot for it, and then all of a sudden, they're drafting a guy in the first round. So all right, well, here we go. But so we will see. Okay, so Draft Tech did have Herbert going number 6 in their mock draft before, but in the live, Isaiah Simmons was the best available, so they had him slotted there. They technically got the Herbert one correct because that's what they had made. When they made their
Oh, okay. So it goes off of their final predictions, not what is simulated. Because in theory they would get. They're doing it the harder way, and they got it right. Does that make sense? Yeah.
They're doing it without the knowledge of it going through.
So a couple interesting or cool graphics popping up on Twitter. I want to see if I can pull them up for everyone to see. All related to Miami, of course, because that's all that matters right now. I'm gonna take it while I can.
I was going to say to you, now it's kind of a moot point now, but so I've seen a lot of people say, if the Eagles don't draft a a wide receiver in the first round, what will your mood be? Because that's what all the talk has been. And I was going to ask you, understanding that the Dolphins are not just a quarterback away, But like with all the talk and all the guys and all the hype around the guys this year, like what would your reaction have been if going out of tonight into tomorrow, the Dolphins had not picked a quarterback? Like in the same situation, like let's say
Right.
Tua and Herbert and those guys were there and they just didn't pick them.
I mean, it's honestly it's tough for me to say because I feel bad saying that I'd be disappointed when I say that I trust Greer and Flores. You know.
Right.
But
No, I understand.
yeah, I guess it depends on really what they would have ended up with. If they ended up with guys that I liked, it would have been made it a little better. But then you got to think that are they expecting to be bad next year? Because
Right.
if they're waiting entire year, like, because you're not going to take a guy in the second round, right? Like, you don't expect to get your franchise savior in the second round. Sorry, that's not how you operate.
Right.
You don't expect to unearth,
Here we
Tom
go with
Brady
the
at pick
Panthers pick.
199. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Right. Carolina pick is Derek Brown, defensive tackle. So Isaiah Simmons is
Still dropping.
still on the board.
Still dropping. So, well, I mean that's a good pick. Derek Brown he's playing a non-flashy position, a space aider, a disruptive guy, not necessarily a pass rush specialist, but someone that can take on a few blocks. He played at Auburn. Big dude. I mean, I would love for him to go to Miami, but obviously they weren't going to take him at 5. So they had to hope that he lasted much longer than that. If the stupid Steelers and Texans would have stopped winning a little sooner, Miami would have been in a better position to take a few of these
That would have
guys.
been helpful. Yeah, that would have been helpful. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for a while, it looked like Miami was going to have 2 top 5 picks because the Steelers were not great at the beginning of the year.
They were awful.
And then they did one of their things where they got hot late, but then they crumbled a bit towards the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep. Yep.
So
I think that's a great. I think that's a good pick for Carolina. It's a stable pick. It's a solid one. Don't get me wrong. I love Isaiah Simmons. And I wouldn't say I'm surprised because I picked him to go in this range. You know what I mean? But we'll see where he ends up. But because, like we said, so Carolina takes him. I mean, Arizona, they're going to take a tackle, aren't they? You would think, an offensive tackle. I mean, maybe not, but again, you spent first-round picks on quarterbacks the last 2 years, so I can't imagine you wouldn't be taking, a defensive or an offensive tackle here.
right, yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but
the Cardinals pick is in already.
Cardinals pick is in, so I'd expect this to be Wirfs, but it could be Wills. Hey, it could be Isaiah Simmons, but they didn't hit on who was it? Hassan, was it Reddick from Temple a few years ago, linebacker?
Yeah.
That hasn't worked out for them, but I think it's a new crew making those decisions now. But we'll see what happens with the Cardinals. Justin will let us know.
Yeah, they're doing a feature on Derek Brown right now. So.
Oh, well, they're going to wait until that is over. So,
So, the good news then, maybe the Jacksonville pick will be in.
right. We'll just keep this rolling. I know when they get into this, even the second and third round, they're just picks, just an accident of picks. There's just a backup on the freeway. They're just waiting because they got to continue to talk and show all these things that they taped and whatnot.
Right.
I thought maybe this year, because of all the remote stuff, it would be a little bit different, but it doesn't appear. It doesn't appear that way.
Are you able to get through to Draft Tack right now?
No, they're having a server error at the moment.
Yeah. That's
Actually, I'm having an issue with the Draft Network too. Draft Network is back up. I wanted to see what they had to say about Tua. Joe Marino wrote it, not Kyle Krabs. Kyle's a Dolphins fan like me, so being a Wilson grad, an NFL draft junkie, and a Dolphins fan, I feel like he's he's me, but like 10 years younger. So he's not. He's actually not that much younger than me. He's like 5 years younger than me, I think. But he's a good dude. He was on our show actually a few years ago when we talked NFL draft. It was a show that you weren't able to make, and he and I talked NFL draft.
Right.
When he was running NDT scouting.
All right.
That was his own place.
Here we go with the Cardinals. Here we go with the Cardinals pick. Isaiah Simmons to Arizona.
It is Simmons. Okay, well there we go. You know,
they went with we're going with best available.
that's what it seems like. Yes.
Which there are lots of teams who have done very well with that over the years.
Oh, for sure.
As opposed to like trying to draft for positions, you know. Yet, especially at the top, just get the best player and make him work. You know, like the kid can play everywhere.
All right, we'll see if Draft Tech is back up. Oh, they are back up. Let's see if they have any information. They put in a bunch of grades. Let's see. Pretty solid grades. Burrow an A, Young A+, Okuda a B. So that's their lowest grade. Thomas gets an A. So despite it being a reach based on their offensive tackle rankings, the Giants analyst believes that to be a solid pick. The Dolphins analyst is David Payne. He gave it an A-. So I'm not sure what the detractor are saying about that pick, but I guess he's saying, it sounds like he's trying to say that they really wanted Burrow, they just couldn't make it happen, but Tua is a pretty good silver medal. So that's where the A- comes in. They weren't able to get Burrow, but they sat still, didn't give up anything, and ended up with Tua. So, and they got, like you said, they got the Herbert pick right at 6. Did not have Derek Brown going to Carolina in their original. The continuously updated live mock, though, did have Isaiah Simmons going to Arizona at 8. So that the draft sim said that would happen, and that's exactly what did. So
yeah,
is the Jacksonville pick in?
No, there's 5.5 minutes left yet.
Okay. So, yeah, pretty good so far.
Yeah. If I'm Arizona, like, yes, I need to get help for my offense, you know, protection and things like that. However, I am thrilled that I've got. Don't get me wrong, Chase Young is he's the best player, but you can make an argument that Isaiah Simmons is the second best player in the draft. Now, I understand there are other guys that were rated higher and things like that, but I mean, he's arguably the best player on the best team in college football.
Right.
And I know it's more complicated.
I think, I think the biggest question is he's kind of a hybrid, and that's tough on defense in the NFL. Now, if you get a coordinator and a system that uses him right, which I think that was my biggest question when Von Miller came out, you know, all those years ago now, from Texas A&M to Denver, which was almost a decade ago. Was Von Miller didn't really fit the prototypical Denver defense, but all the coordinators they've had have found a way to use him properly when healthy, and that's why he's been so successful. So you have to make sure that you have the coordinator and the system to make a guy like Isaiah Simmons work. Is that going to be Arizona? I believe their defensive coordinator is Vance Joseph, who did not endear himself to me when he was with Miami and didn't do so as a head coach in Denver. So that's yet to be seen if they can get what they can out of Isaiah Simmons. But I think raw athleticism off the charts.
I look at what Vance Joseph was able to do with now he wasn't able to get it done in Denver. Although the defense wasn't always as terrible. Like, I feel like in Denver it was a little distorted because of how bad the offense was at times. You know what I mean? Like how that can be distorting for the defense.
Yeah.
But like in Chicago, he was able to get some things really going there. Well, I don't know. It'll be tough. It'll be interesting to see where he does fit, like you said. However, I think, yeah, especially as he was going. Oh, and by the way, we nailed that. He went in that 6 to 10 range, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There we go.
Got that one.
Chalk another one
Boom.
up for us.
Whammy. All I need is I need the Browns to make a trade. I don't even care if it's right now. Just
No,
trade
I need them to
sometime.
stay pat. They can still get Wirfs, Wills, or Becton. So just sit there. You're gonna get one of them, right? Like you have to. It's mathematically impossible for them to mess this up, right? Oh wait, it's the Browns.
Yeah,
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So Justin, did you watch Parks and Recreation?
I've never watched it straight through. I've seen it a number of times though. Like I've seen certain episodes, but I've never sat and watched it all the way through like I did The Office or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not a statement. I like it. It's not like, oh, I don't like it. I just, when it was on was a period of time that I wasn't able to really watch, and I've just never gotten around to it.
Well, if there's ever a global pandemic and you have a lot of free time to watch shows, I recommend maybe watching it. I only bring it up because, well, I know that you're a huge fan of The Office, and for me, Parks and Recreation I enjoyed more than The Office, and I like The Office, and I watch reruns all the time.
Right.
But
A
Parks
lot
and
of people
Recreation
tell me
I
that,
enjoyed
too.
more.
Yeah.
And I only say this because Kelly just messaged me that they're returning for a one-off coronavirus episode. They're
Oh my
doing
gosh.
a one-off reunion episode of Parks and Recreation about coronavirus.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Now the show's been off the air for 2 or 3 years, maybe it's even more than that. Maybe it's 3 or 4 years. But they had a time jump in their final season. And it'll be interesting to see it. I didn't read the article yet, but I wonder if everyone's coming back. If they got everyone to come back, wow, that'll be really something.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So, all right, how we doing? Anything on the Jaguars yet?
The Jaguars pick is in, but they're showing the video chat between Goodell and Burrows now.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool. I feel like we should maybe petition you top. You say yes or no to any technical glitches.
I don't know. I gotta check. I
I
said
think
yes.
I said yes.
I said yes.
I think I said yes, and it the light was very bright on Joe Burrow's face during that Goodell talk. And so I'm going to petition Joe that should count.
That should count.
As a glitch. Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to text him right now.
I think we stopped at 8, so I can read them 9 through 15 if you want to go over these while we wait for the Jaguars pick.
Here's the Jacksonville pick.
Oh, you got the
quick.
Jacksonville pick? All right. Got
Yeah.
the Jacksonville pick.
C.J. Henderson.
Oh, okay. Cornerback.
Yeah. So that one, first cornerback. No, second cornerback.
Second cornerback after Okuda.
Not counting Isaiah Simmons.
No. Interesting. Okay. Jacksonville, are they trying to replace still trying to replace what's his name?
I thought they'd go D line there, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's an interesting one.
All right, so I have submitted our petition for the bright light counting as a technical glitch.
Okay.
So
Yeah, let me know how that goes for you. So
yeah, I can.
I mean,
probably
I'm
tell
all
you how
in.
that's gonna go.
I'm behind you 100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
C.J. Henderson, number 9. Interesting. I don't know, maybe the NFL's not as high on these tackles as the rest of us were. 'Cause
Right.
I said we could see 4 go in the top 10, and so far only 1 has gone.
Maybe they're not, just in terms of the line in general, maybe they're not looking to trade, and I'm not even going to attempt his name, but the guy they've got down there who
Yannick Ngakoue?
Yeah. By the way, the Browns pick is in already.
Browns pick is in. All right. Well, they probably knew. They're like, hey, we can take a tackle. It's not going to be Andrew Thomas, though.
Yeah, but they've got to be pretty pleased because there's a bunch of them that are like.
They can take Wills or Becton.
That have been taken. Right, yeah.
You have to be happy that no receivers have been taken yet.
Thrilled.
They're all going to be taken between picks 17 and 20.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
So, my Dolphins aren't on until closer to when Philadelphia picks. So, actually, that'll be fun when we get to the latter parts if there's no trades, because the way it's set up is Dallas picks at 17, Miami picks at 18, Philadelphia picks at 21, New England picks at 23, and Miami picks at 26.
That's nice. That's a good run there.
So in the course of 10 picks, we get ones that we're interested in. Like five of the 10 we have a keen interest in. Now, whether or not they all keep them, obviously that's up for debate. But so we got a lot of fun ones, and actually Baltimore picks 2 picks later than that. So ones we're interested in or our listeners are interested in all happen towards the latter half of round 1. But right now we are focused on the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, hey, they just cut back to Goodell before he was ready.
Technical issue. Count it. All right. So, time to tweet. So Ross Tucker, who did some coverage.
It took Jedrick Wills. They took
Wills. Okay, so Wirfs is still out there. My number 1 tackle makes it outside the top 10, but they took a tackle and they made a pick, so they didn't trade it. So we're on track for the Browns to do us a favor and not trade out.
Right.
So
I our petition for the bright light was denied, but I said, what about cutting back to Goodell before he was ready? Because they went from the video of they had a kid from St. Jude's, like kind of leading up to the Browns pick, and they cut back to Goodell.
Oh, you know what? I'm just seeing it now. I'm literally seeing it right now.
So I immediately sent a follow-up petition for that one. So.
That's funny. So Ross Tucker said, Herbert reminds me of Blaine Gabbert. So there's that.
I'm on board with him. I'm on board with that.
You're on board with that? I know you're a big Chargers hater, so.
Well, I was going to say that's not true, but it kind of is.
Well, you're a Los Angeles hater. Usually it's for the Rams, though. So.
Yeah, the Rams. Yeah, the Rams do get most of my LA hate, but so.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're done with the top 10. Top 10 is finished. We are moving on into basically the second third of the first round of the draft, and I wonder who will go next. Are the Jets on the clock? Yeah, the Jets. So who cares about them? I hope their pick is awful, whoever it is.
Blake Gillikin.
Well, I mean, I'd be happy because he's a Penn Stater, but that would be an excellent selection. I would be very happy if they made that pick.
Yeah.
So, so we have the Jets on the clock now, then the Raiders with their first pick in the first round, followed by the 49ers, who got this pick from Indianapolis in the Buckner trade. I think both Las Vegas and San Francisco could be a destination for one of your wide receivers. So, Justin, this is coming to a point where You're going to be very interested to see who is left after these next 3 picks.
Oh, and another kind of crazy thing, no trades yet.
No.
There were no trades in the top 10.
After a substantial amount over the last few years, especially I think it was last year, and
Right.
so much talk about, could Washington trade at 2? Detroit's got to trade at 3, right? Miami's going to be on the move. Does a team move up for a quarterback? Who wants to move down? And now so far, nothing. Nothing has happened yet. So, yeah, interesting. Very interesting. And
Yeah.
I haven't checked in. So I think the way the Draft Tech sim works is I think they get a star if they nailed it in the last mock, or if the draft sim hits it as well.
Okay.
So because they got a star for, now it's gone. They had a star for the Isaiah Simmons pick, because the sim had put him there before the pick,
right?
But now the star is
I see
gone,
it.
so
No,
they must have
gone.
reverted. It must only be if they hit it with their with the last sim before the draft started.
It'll be interesting to see if the idea of the lack of trades goes through, with how that may affect the accuracy, because that's always one of those things that makes it even harder to predict. Is you don't know if teams are going to trade and all
Right.
that stuff if there haven't been many trades. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, interesting. The sim has the Jets taking Wirfs, which would make sense. They were a team thought to be in need of an offensive tackle, and he's clearly the best one available. It also has the Raiders taking Lamb, the 49ers taking Ruggs, Tampa Bay
Right.
taking Becton, and Denver taking Judy. So that's like your worst case scenario there, Justin.
Yeah.
Seeing 3
That-
receivers and a tackle.
I've clicked over a few times, and they have the Eagles taking Jefferson, and that's who they had at pretty much the start.
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, there was that report that that teams really like him, and he could be the second receiver taken. So we'll see if that becomes truth.
I know there's people that have been like against him. There's knocks on any of them if you dig enough. You know what I mean? But like, honestly, the only thing that worries me is their record on drafting wide receivers hasn't been exactly super strong. But other than that, I mean, if they get a receiver, I can't really be that upset with them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want them to do. So as long as it's not like a huge reach, you know what I mean? Like if one of those top guys is still there for some miracle and they don't draft him, and go down the board somewhere, it's like, what were you doing? You know what I mean?
Right. So have you heard anything from Joe about his reaction to the Browns pick?
No, but let me ask.
Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say about the selection. So, yeah, so far for me, the Jaguars taking Henderson at 9 is the biggest head scratcher. I think for a while it was Thomas, the first tackle taken by the Giants. But
Jets pick is in, by the way.
Okay.
But they're not acted out yet.
The Henderson one to Jacksonville is head scratching for me. I feel like there were a lot other better selections for them than to find a replacement for Jalen Ramsey, because that went so well the first time.
Yeah.
So apparently Andy Reid is doing his best Andy Reid impression tonight, so that's good.
Oh man.
Hey, when you've won the Super Bowl, you can kind of do whatever you want. Apparently they took a picture that the Chiefs tweeted, already made it into a meme, so it's going around everywhere. Oh man, good stuff. Still waiting on that announcement of the Jets pick. I would think it would be Wirfs, but who knows?
Right. No, I agree. I would think that would be it. I think they said we're just a few seconds away from
If
them
they can
cutting
mess it
to
up,
the
I'm
zone.
all about that. So
Yeah.
no problem if
Yeah.
they would like to mess this up. Sounds good to me. I'm hoping we can make it to
Desmond Howard said he thinks the Jets should take CeeDee Lamb here.
really. I
Yeah.
guess they need weapons, huh? They don't have a lot going
Yeah.
for them.
But if you can't protect the guy, well,
Yeah,
it
it doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. But Adam Gase having control of this, who knows?
Yeah, that worked out so well for Miami.
Here we go. Mekhi Becton. So they went tackle.
Becton. So Wirfs is now set to be the 4th tackle taken. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I mean, they went tackle. That's fine. And Becton is high risk, high reward. Like, he has the chance to be absolutely incredible, but also to be a massive bust. So I'm fine with him going to the Jets. I'm actually glad it's not Wirfs because I like Wirfs better. So as a Jets hater, that's A-okay with me.
So now we're getting to the point. Are you starting to hope that Wirfs is still available at 18?
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up. And I tweeted at him yesterday, but Kyle Krabs released his final mock draft, and it was a doozy for Miami. It was absolutely awesome.
Oh yeah.
Did you read it? Did you read it?
Yeah.
I'm trying. I think they got Tua. One of the tackles. I don't remember if it was Becton or Thomas, and then I think they got Swift or Dobbins. Was his haul.
So someone did an Eagles one, and they did a ton of trades, and they basically got 4 of the top 5 wide receivers or something like that. But they had to trade everything away.
Miami got Tua, Thomas, and Swift with their first 3 picks.
Yeah.
Now they had to move up to 10 to get Thomas in this scenario. So we're already at pick 12, and Wirfs is still available. So,
but I feel like we're going to see a receiver start to go here with Vegas on the clock.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is it going to be Ruggs or Lamb?
I think it's going to be Lamb.
You think it's going to be Lamb?
Yeah.
That's what Draft Tech says. The mock that I was just looking at had it be Ruggs. So Lamb, Ruggs, or the field. I'd probably say go with the Lamb Ruggs combo. I think it's going to be one of them. So we'll see. I haven't checked in on the Facebook page recently to see if anyone's been commenting.
I've kind of been following along now.
See if I can pull it up again. Check in, see how everyone's doing. Nothing recently. We appreciate the people that have been watching with us off and on or the entire time. It's a fun evening. Always love doing NFL draft coverage. And hey, maybe next year we won't be in quarantine and we could do this in the same room. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, Yeah. Oh man, I would hope.
All right, Vegas, let's go. Come on, get that pick in.
Pick is in.
All right. Okay. So before they announce it, let's run through a few more of these prop bets. Number 9 was Patriots draft this position in the first round. I said trade pick away.
I said trade pick away.
Because I feel like that's what they always do.
And I feel like I don't know that that's what they'll do, but I feel there's just as much chance that they trade it as they pick any position,
Right,
so,
yeah. That's the thing. Like, how could I narrow it down to quarterback, lineman, tight end?
Right.
Or, I mean, I guess other would be a good choice, too.
Right.
Yeah, so we alluded to this already, but number 10 was, will a top 10 draft pick experience technical difficulties? I said yes. You said yes. We're still petitioning Joe. We'll see how that goes. Number 11, who will be the third quarterback drafted? I said Herbert.
I said Herbert.
We were both right on that because it was Burrow to Herbert. Number 12.
Go ahead.
Any first rounder drinking alcohol when drafted? I said yes. Now,
I said yes.
I feel like this could be something that has to be a petition that solo cups should be an automatic check for alcohol.
I agree.
Because if you're drinking, a sports beverage or a soda that is approved by the NFL, it's going to be in the original bottle. But if they're drinking something that is of the adult variety, it's probably going to be in a solo cup. So that should be a slam dunk guarantee for us.
Yeah, here we go with the Vegas pick.
All right, Vegas pick is in. See, Gruden, Mayock.
Henry Ruggs went.
Henry Ruggs, there it is. So
Yep.
was right on that one. Not correct on my second wide receiver drafted. I said Ruggs would be second. So I needed Lamb to go there.
Their last Alabama wide receiver they took was fine, and Gruden traded him away. But
right, yeah. Who did he trade him to again? Who was that? Where'd he go?
Yeah. We'll just leave that. Yeah.
So, all right. We're at another point, Justin, where you need this not to be a receiver because now we're seeing them go. One is off the board.
And I think we're right. I think we're going to have one go off the board here. That's
you think this is going to be Lamb?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's a great fit out there. I mean, I think he's a perfect fit for San Francisco. Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, because
I'm hoping it's not.
They're looking to trade Marquise Goodwin. They didn't re-sign Emmanuel Sanders, so
right.
They do definitely need help at that position, and they got this pick from the Colts by trading a defensive lineman, which they had a ton of.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I know it was tough, like, as a Broncos fan to sit there and watch Emmanuel Sanders play such a big role on a team that makes it the Super Bowl last year. But if you weren't going to sign him, if Denver wasn't going to sign him.
Right.
And San Francisco basically rented him, and I know you made it to the Super Bowl, but you didn't win the Super Bowl. It's I don't know. It just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. I understand it, but it's just one of those where you're like, man, you wish it would have worked out differently. Yes, Henry Ruggs III is in a bathrobe, by the way.
Is he?
It looks like a hotel one, too. It's like all white.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So, and it's a close-up view, but there are a lot of people there.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know that there's more than 10.
Just saw Gruden's draft room, 7 people there. I know they were allowed to have up to 10. I love Mayock just looks like a fan. Like, whenever I say Mike Mayock and he's the GM of the Raiders now, like, he just looks like a fan to me, which when he first burst onto the scene and started to get, like, the same profile as the ESPN guys, Kuiper and McShay, which McShay revealed that he has coronavirus, which was
I saw that.
Crazy.
He's missing the draft tonight.
I wasn't a huge Mayock fan. Like, I was always a Kuiper guy.
So,
McShay was, he rubbed me the wrong way sometimes, but Mayock was not.
I like Mayock because he's a Philly guy. Like, you listen to him for 2 seconds and you know he's a Philly guy.
But after a few years, I warmed up to Mayock, and I was super happy, and I thought it made sense that he would get a front office job because sometimes I think a lot of these draft guys should have a role in the front office. Now, maybe not GM overall because there's a lot more than just the draft that goes into being a GM, but I like to see Mayock, and I know these guys are at home, and it'd be different if they were maybe in their war room on the team's campus, but it just is funny to see him like wearing a Raiders hat and sweatshirt, not in a suit and tie or all buttoned up and ready to go as a professional. So that's fun. But hopefully the 49ers pick is in soon. They got to be under 4 minutes now.
Yeah, it is at 3:40. I did hear back from Joe on the pick. He said let me just look to see exactly what he said. He said they must have absolutely wanted Wills, but he wanted Wirfs.
He wanted Wirfs. So he's like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Which doesn't surprise me
I
at
see
all,
the
especially-
bathrobe now.
Yeah.
It's an
especially
Old Spice
with-
bathrobe.
Oh man, it's crazy. They were showing his dunks then and everything too,
Yeah.
which is a crazy thing. I had seen that a few weeks ago. But.
So Joe is a Wirfs guy as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Which
Wirfs
doesn't
was
really
my
surprise
one.
me,
Wills
and
was my two.
I don't know that this is it, but the Wirfs thing, Joe being a solid Big Ten football fan,
Right.
doesn't surprise me at all that he values the guy out of Iowa. So.
Yeah. Well, right, because Wills and Thomas were both SEC guys, and then
Right.
you have the random Louisville throw in there.
Right.
But San Francisco, get that pick in.
Yeah, it's under 2.5 minutes now. So, yeah, we shall see.
Las Vegas Raiders. Henry Ruggs.
And then they were doing this story, and I had seen it back in the college football season with Ruggs, how his best friend had died in a car accident.
Yeah.
And they're talking about that, which don't get me wrong, that's a horrific story, but it is one of the things of the draft when you get to hear the stories of these guys and things like that. Obviously you hate to see a situation like this, but getting to see those stories. Oh, auto trader trade alert! San Francisco has traded the pick.
Whoa, to who?
To the Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers have the 13th pick. Right?
Oh, they flip-flop. So San Francisco must have been talking to someone else, too. Someone else looking for a tackle? Maybe Miami trying to trade up to get Wirfs? Tampa Bay's got to be taking Wirfs.
Yeah. So Tampa's got to take Wirfs, you would think.
I would think that either Miami or maybe Jacksonville. I'm trying to think of teams that needed a tackle. I feel like if it wasn't going to be Miami, Tampa Bay was the next choice. Jacksonville would be my sleeper there.
But Tampa must have felt the pressure to do it because to move up one spot.
Well, heck, they're all in. I mean, with what they're doing down there, they're trying to win now, and I guess they think Wirfs will help do that.
I mean, you look at that though. To be honest, I can't remember. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't remember a team built more rapidly for win right now. You know what I mean? Just with the level of the pieces that they're bringing in, like quarterback and tight end. And
yeah, well, I feel like you see that in the NBA because it's a lot easier to do.
Right, your coach isn't there for long term. So they did flip flop that. They have switched that on the ticker now. So San Francisco is at 14. And Tampa Bay, the pick is in, so we shall see.
I feel like this has got to be Wirfs.
Bruce Arians, it's great because Bruce Arians is just sitting in a white office chair, and it looks like he has a little table in his dining room. He just, oh man,
perfect.
He looks like any retired person, in
Florida,
the west coast of Florida. Yeah.
Well,
oh man,
I'm seeing a video of Tristan Wirfs right now. He's looking at his phone, but he's not on his phone. If you know what I mean.
Right,
yeah, there's the Arians. You're right. Oh my gosh, that is so. Oh my god, he does. If you took away the Buccaneers helmet on the table, it looked like you'd just be looking at some retired guy hanging out.
Right. So do you remember? The Seinfeld episodes when they visit Jerry Seinfeld's parents in Florida,
yes.
that could be a scene from that,
How hilarious would it have been if his chair that he's reclining in just broke, and you just see him head over heels.
kicks the table and all the stuff flies
knocks
off.
everything down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm guessing that a majority of these screens, and maybe if these are all-in-ones, were either loaned or donated by Microsoft, so that you wouldn't see a certain other computer company's imagery.
If you notice that one Bruce Arians screen looks like an iMac.
Well, I was just about to say, wow, there's a lot of iMacs on that guy's desk. Whoever they showed next, it might have been the Bucks GM.
Yeah,
but they weren't. They were Microsoft symbols.
Okay.
So they look
here we go.
similar to iMacs.
Here's the Bucks pick.
This has got to be worse. I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Why would you trade up if it's not?
Well, because they're not picking a receiver, and you don't have to trade up for a running back.
It is worth.
It's worse.
It is worth.
That makes sense. So,
All right.
well, there goes that dream. I'm sure they were trading up to probably avoid Miami taking him. Well, but Tampa. Well, I guess they were trading up because Miami.
There is a cat. There is a cat on the back of the couch.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I saw that because I immediately was like, "Oh, that kind of looks like Lucy."
Yes.
All right, so Tampa Bay trades up one spot, flip-flopping picks there with San Francisco.
So, which means San Francisco probably is taking a wide receiver and knew they could still get the guy at 14.
And they probably picked up like a third or fourth round pick for it or something.
Right.
So this is going to be CeeDee Lamb. That's my prediction.
I think so too, and I think that's a really good fit for them. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's a great wide receiver. He'd be a good fit for lots of teams, but
man, it's a shame with Tampa Bay being back at the forefront of people's discussions with Brady and Gronk.
Yeah,
that they didn't go back to the creamsicle uniforms. Oh man, what an opportunity!
Yeah,
what an opportunity that would have been.
See, here's the thing. Like, I like the idea of the creamsicle uniform more than I like the actual creamsicle uniform. I'm not a big fan.
Oh, really? See, I love it.
What I mean?
I love it.
See, I think there's a lot of potential there.
It's so
but
different in the NFL. Like, no one else does anything like that.
It's not good.
Oh, no, it's great. It's great. I think the like creamsicle orange face mask with that old Bucko Bruce logo, I think it's great. So I would absolutely love to see the restrictions on uniforms be lifted for the 2021 season and for Tampa Bay to wear that for like 4 games or something. New England wears the old Patriot logo for a few games. And the Eagles bring back the Kelly green. That's what I want.
Oh, my gosh. So, those ones you sent me the other day.
Oh, my gosh. That mock-up. Oh, that was amazing.
That was incredible.
So good. So looking at Draft Tech's simulation so far, it looks like the best pick value-wise is Wirfs right here at 13 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the trade with San Francisco. He was ranked, I believe, as their 7th best player. They get him at 13, and I believe he was their number 1 ranked tackle. So, big get by Tampa Bay. I wonder what they gave up to just move up one spot.
They had him going. Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I thought originally they had him going to the Giants.
Right, at 4.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see what Tampa Bay had to give up. Did they give up as much as like a 3rd or a 4th to move up one spot?
Right.
And it'll be interesting to find out if it was Miami trying to move up.
They must have thought someone else was trying to move up because you don't just do that just to give away the pick.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Yep. So, well, I mean, that's just one of those things. Miami calls Tampa Bay and is like, hey, we'll give you this to swap first-round picks. And then they probably, call a couple other teams, maybe ones that have said we're interested in moving up for a guy. San Francisco turns around and calls Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's like, well, we'll one-up them and we'll give you this instead. Yeah. And there you go.
And probably, especially sitting in that spot, Tampa was probably like, look, this is what because they know San Francisco wasn't looking for a tackle. So, probably in the last day or two, they're like, look, if you get a call for that, let us know. To see if we can, get ahead. Now, it's interesting, though, because, Miami would have to move up more spots. So, yeah, that's the crazy part of being a GM of, how you value all that stuff. And
Yeah. Yep, it'll be interesting. So, I don't know how late you were planning on going. I mean, I'm not going to bed anytime soon with Miami having all those picks left. We're limited to 3 hours on Facebook, so we won't be streaming past 11. But if you want to stick around, I'm game. But I'm going to leave that up to you.
All right. We'll cross that bridge when it comes, but we'll probably see where we're at in the picks.
I would like to get to the Eagles pick before 11 o'clock, but we got to get through 7 in the next hour, so it's going to be close. It depends on if they all take their full 10 minutes.
It's going to be real close.
So, yeah. So we think it'll be CeeDee Lamb next to the 49ers. Then Denver's up. Do you think Denver takes a wide receiver? Is that going to throw a...
I think they do.
You think it's going to be Judy?
Yeah, I do. I do.
All right, I got some texts here to go through. Uncle Rich is cheering on Tampa Bay. He said, became my second favorite team, playing Super Bowl in their home stadium this year. May move up to number 1, go Brady and Gronk. Now he's just trolling.
Yeah.
Can't take him that seriously there.
Ask him if he takes that deflated football with him to Florida when they go down there every year.
I don't have to ask him. I think you just did. All right, so the best player available, I think, value-wise, maybe Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle from South Carolina. But CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy are both positive values left, according to Draft Tech's big board. I'm trying to see. Everyone else seems to be being taken at essentially the correct spots. So we'll have to see what happens the rest of the way here, but expect...
man. They're just showing Belichick sitting at it like an empty... You know how everybody else has kind of it looks kind of staged?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nope, he's just sitting with the laptop at an empty, huge dining room table.
Of course he is.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going on Facebook or something. It doesn't look like anything.
Now that should be coming up for me here shortly. Is the pick in for the 49ers? Okay, because on my screen they're counting down under a minute, so I would think it has to be in. You trade back, get an extra pick or something. You still didn't know who you were going to take? Were you entertaining more trade offers? What's going on? Why is it taking you another 10 minutes?
Right.
Just absurd. Come on, John Lynch. Get it together. People got to work tomorrow, bud.
Okay, so here we go. The Buccaneers got the 13th pick and a 7th round this year. The Niners got the 14th pick, so they switched and they got a 4th.
So they got a 4th.
They switched one spot in the first round and they swapped the 4th for a 7th.
Okay, I mean, I feel like to get a 3rd or a 4th, that's a win for you to move one spot and still get the guy that you probably wanted anyways.
Right. Right.
CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, or maybe Jefferson, like we heard that he could be the second receiver taken. But
I do think it's cool. This is just real quick. I do think it's cool that so many of the GMs and coaches and stuff are having their kids in the room with them, because that's something that wouldn't have gotten to happen.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here we go. Here's the Niners pick. Javon Kinlaw went here to San Francisco.
Whoa, well that is a huge relief for you.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's a huge. So they trade away a defensive lineman to get a pick to take a defensive lineman. My guess is San Francisco is saying, hey, this is a deep wide receiver draft. We can get better value here. I mean, I just said that Kinlaw was the best available player and high value at this point. And, John Lynch is saying, hey, we need to keep adding quality players to this team, even if it's replacing a guy that we sent packing because we thought we had enough defensive linemen.
Right.
They're definitely going to be shopping probably for a receiver then with their next pick. So now Denver's got to be thinking, well, we've got a lot of options. Only one is gone. Ruggs is gone, but you have the choice between Lamb, Judy, Jefferson. I don't think it would be Mims. I think it's going to be one of those first three and probably Lamb or Judy. And I don't think Atlanta is going to be in the wide receiver market. So,
it was
that's huge.
I think Draft Tech had Kinlaw going to them at 16. Hey, every pick you can get that a wide receiver isn't taken is a big one right now for the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely. So, man, what a windfall it would be if Denver doesn't take a receiver. Because I don't see Atlanta taking one. I guess, could Dallas take one?
They could, but they could. A guy just jumped on the floor at Javon Kinlaw. Oh, he's like swimming at something. I don't know.
He had fallen off the couch.
And it looks like a bunch of people ran to like the other rooms that there aren't like.
Well, there's at least 10 people in that room.
Yes, there are at least 10 in that room. There are at least.
You got to count the kid. Like, there's no age limit. The kid counts.
No, that's right. That's right.
So, yeah, okay. So that's a little bit of a shock. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. It's just a shocking pick based on what we saw their needs to be. But again, it's not always about filling needs.
Right.
It's finding the top tier talent. And Kinlaw was great value.
Right. We said it with Isaiah Simmons. They said, hey, look, and we're going to take the best player available. And if he's the best player, especially, or maybe they're like, we're going to make the best value pick. You know what I mean? And it kind of goes synonymous with, the best player available. But like when you see a certain like value reached, maybe you're like, oh, look, we weren't really planning on this guy, but we didn't really think he'd be available when he was there,
Right. So they compared Javon Kinlaw to Richard Seymour. That's a pretty good comparison right there.
Yeah, I'd take that. It would be funny though if they just like compared them all to like, and they do that sometimes. Sometimes they just call them out. Like I feel like Kuiper does that a lot. Like he'll give some of the like hyperbole ones, but then like sometimes he'll just call them out. Like I see him comparing to and name like a run of the mill guy, and you're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Oh, does it say pick is in on your screen?
It does.
Okay.
I wasn't really paying attention.
People are starting to tip them on Twitter, or I'm just seeing it now because I know who Denver's taking.
Okay.
So I'll wait for them to announce it on your screen, but
maybe John Elway will just take the tallest quarterback available. Who knows?
No, it is not a quarterback. So I can guarantee it is not a quarterback. So is Drew Lock the guy in Denver?
I think he is.
Or at least for this year?
I feel like he's got as good a shot as any of the guys they've had in there lately. But the problem is I don't know that they're going to get it. Well, they cut the Jerry Jeudy's like house for the first time, so like I can't imagine that he's not the pick. Again, interesting. There's 6 people in the room where Jerry Jeudy is, and then you can see through the glass doors in the back. There's a bunch.
There's like 25 others.
Right. Yeah.
So we clearly are getting the points for that one.
I'm not saying it's a smart move. At the same time, like
It's understandable.
It's hard for me to sit here and judge somebody who's
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
In their life, yeah.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Can't.
Pick his-
Yeah, okay.
Jerry Jeudy.
Yep. So there goes that wide receiver option. So Ruggs and Jeudy go, which means Lamb and Jefferson are the two bigger ones still available as we approach the halfway point of the first round, with Atlanta now on the clock and Dallas on deck. Atlanta needs a pass rusher. So
here's
Jason?
the thing. I don't think Atlanta takes. Now, okay, so this would be crazy, but I'm not real big on the Eagles moving up, right? But if they were, this is the spot to do it, to trade up and get CeeDee Lamb, because I could see Jerry Jones taking CeeDee Lamb if he's available.
Okay.
Oklahoma guy. I just have a feeling about that, and if the Eagles were going to do it, to jump in front of them to get them.
Because honestly, unless someone trades up, Dallas is a potential landing spot. I don't think Atlanta is, so that's why it makes sense for Philly to jump up. Dallas isn't going to trade with Philadelphia, and they could take CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
I don't think Miami would, but if he was a top 10 guy to them, and they want to say, hey, let's throw him together with Tua, it would have been nice if it would have been Ruggs or Jeudy, but that
would have been incredible.
Right? Let's get CD in there and see what he could do. Maybe Miami could take him at 18. I highly doubt Vegas is double dipping wide receiver in the first round, so they're out at 19. Right. Jacksonville is a possibility. They just released Marquise Lee. I feel like they have a lot of other needs that CeeDee Lamb maybe is someone that they don't necessarily need at the moment, but I mean, it's a maybe for me there, and then you're at Philly. So there's a good chance that unless one of these teams sees too much value there to pass up, that he could be available at 21. And I'm sure that's what's going on with the with Howie Roseman and company as they discuss this. Do they consider trading up with Atlanta at 16?
Right. And I say that only because they jumped ahead of Dallas a few years ago, now it was the 20s, to get Dallas Goedert, a tight end, when they knew that Dallas, well, it ended up that Dallas needed a tight end because Jason Witten had retired.
And now he came back and is no longer in Dallas, which is just super weird.
Right. Did he go to Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I like Jason Witten. He's one of those guys that I liked, even though he played for a team that I couldn't stand.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was as bad of an announcer as people made it out to be. Like, people ripped him all the time. I didn't think he did a bad job. But I feel like that's a stretch for the Raiders, but whatever.
Right, whatever. All right, so let's see, what is Draft Tech saying? Have they updated? I think they had Chasen, the edge rusher from LSU. I think it was the pick for them. So that one would make sense. I'm not super familiar with the needs of Atlanta. I feel like it probably would be defensive focused. You have a nice receiving core. Obviously, you don't need a quarterback at the moment. They just brought in Gurley. So this is probably defense. They didn't do great things with Beasley for 4 years, so maybe they will reconsider a hybrid edge type defender and go somewhere else, like a safety or something?
I feel like there's a glitch right now with Draft Tech though, or because when I click to the live mock for like the team 17 through. Now let me ask: are they updating that as well, or do they not update that until you get there?
What do you mean?
So like it's on separate pages, 17 to 32, right?
Yeah.
But I look like CeeDee Lamb is not anywhere right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like they don't
you know
have
what?
him.
What could be happening is
I guess the second page isn't updated yet.
he falls to 33 with Cincinnati. And here's why, and this is how this works, because teams for the Draft Tech model, at least while I was there, and I doubt it's changed, you can use grabs, which overwrites the computer model. So if you say, like, if you list all these positions, in order, you rank the positions of how important it is that you think that they're going to draft this position. And there was, there was 1 through 10 essentially. And 1 was a high need, have to draft it, and 10 was obviously no way they're drafting this position. But you could also override it and be like, well, if this player would drop, I'll take this. So what's probably happening is no one had a grab on Lamb, or some teams could have even locked him out, saying my team would never take him. And there's no wide receiver needy teams that are grabbing them. So like you can see, like let me see. I know I saw one on here. So like Philadelphia here is taking Justin Jefferson, probably because there's a grab on Justin Jefferson, thinking Lamb wouldn't be there. So Lamb gets passed over by Philadelphia, and Minnesota probably has a grab on Mims. And then you're going to see New Orleans. Maybe they have a grab on Higgins, because they're saying, well, we're going to take a wide receiver in the first round, and the top ones aren't going to be there. And the biggest issue there is Green Bay taking Rieger at 30 with him available. So it's something that's hard to adjust on the fly, and it's why I tried to very, very rarely use grabs when I was a Draft Tech analyst, because you can't foresee that. So either you have to put in grabs for all of the top players at every position that you say is a need, or you're going to look a little foolish when they continue to drop. And that's exactly what's happening here. Like he's a plus 24 value when the Bengals take him with the first pick in the second round.
Right.
So,
which he won't.
Oh my gosh, no! I would. I mean, unless there's an injury issue that we don't know about,
there's some red flag that people don't know about, which
has happened before. Wouldn't be the first time.
I was going to say, but to be honest, like the fact that there's no like hint of that. Here's the Falcons pick, by the way.
Okay. So yeah,
AJ Terrell from Clemson.
Okay, and when we talked, I mean, defense, we talked about their need for a defender. A little, well, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know everything about everyone, because I certainly don't.
Right.
But that's a little bit of a surprising pick for me, got to be honest. I think he was a borderline first-round guy, so to take him at 16, he was ranked 38th by Draft Tech.
Ooh,
so,
I'm interested to see what they have to say about. Yeah. Oh, they're going to like a background story piece, not.
If you're going by positional rankings, at least now this is just Draft Tech, and they don't break down the cornerbacks like to slot or boundary or anything like that. It's just strictly cornerback is the only input, unless they change that. Did they change it? No, it's just CB. I mean, they have a list of outside boundary, nickel, slot, press, and off, and all that kind of stuff. But so we saw Jeffrey Okudah go. He was number 1 cornerback, 6 overall, and he went 3rd to the Lions. C.J. Henderson was their second-ranked cornerback, 17th overall, and he went 9 to the Jaguars. But The Falcons passed over Trevon Diggs from Alabama. He was Draft Tech's third-ranked cornerback, 20th overall prospect, and Christian Fulton, the LSU cornerback, fourth on the Draft Tech positional ranking, 26 overall. And then you get to A.J. Terrell. He was 39th overall and the fifth-ranked cornerback. So, they all have comparable size, 6 foot, 6'1", between 195 and 205 pounds. Obviously, could be defensive scheme differences between Alabama, LSU, and Clemson, but all big-time programs there. Obviously, A.J. Terrell got to play a lot of football, meaningful football against good competition when he got to the playoffs. Not so much in the regular season like Alabama and LSU, like Diggs and Fulton would have seen in and week out. So that's my first. The Thomas one with the Giants, whatever. They took the position we expected, maybe not the guy. C.J. Henderson to the Jags, okay, maybe a little early, but fine. I think this is the first one that I think that's a whiff. I think that's a mistake by Atlanta. I think.
Yeah, it's a weird spot. Like you could have. I feel like you said, you could have traded, even if you wanted him. If you wanted to get him before he was taken, you could have traded down probably 10 spots. Now, I say that you have to find somebody willing to trade up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was talking about the Eagles, but the Eagles may be sitting there saying like, no, look, we're going to get a wide receiver a spot higher or two than we were thinking we were going to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not moving. Yeah, I don't know. But.
Well, we were certainly correct about them not taking a receiver. So now Dallas is up, and you're not going to see Philadelphia trade here. So if Lamb gets Dallas...
Draft Tech has it a stretch of 22.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah, because he was ranked 39th overall, so it's about a give or take there, so about 22 spots.
I believe that makes 7 defensive players taken in the first 16 picks.
Okay.
So that
we're looking good.
14.5 under is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty much dead on.
I mean, I'm assuming Joe wasn't making these up himself. He was getting them from somewhere.
Well, the ones like that, I am sure he was getting from somewhere, yeah.
So, so it's 10-15 about. We're on pick 17. Philadelphia's at pick 21. So it'll be close, but as long as the teams don't take the full 10 minutes, we should get it in before we at least have to bail on Facebook.
Well, and there's under 2 minutes left on the Cowboys already.
Yeah. So, Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy. Do you think McCarthy has any say whatsoever? Is Jerry asking him at all what his input is, or not a chance?
Not a chance.
I don't know what to expect here from Dallas. Draft Tech says an edge rusher.
Draft Tech, last time I saw Draft Tech was saying a safety.
Oh, really? Did that change? I'll have to see.
No. This was before. It is now updated.
Okay. Well, this keeps pushing the LSU edge rusher Clevin Chasen down the board. I'm probably butchering that name. I haven't heard it spoken yet, so I've only ever read it, and I'm always like, how do you say that? Edge rusher going to Dallas. Possibility. I feel like they're always interested.
Cowboys is in.
Okay.
Cowboys.
I feel like it could be a defensive back, cornerback, or safety. I think would make sense. Now, if they want to stick it to Philadelphia, you could take CeeDee Lamb there. And I don't think it's that Dallas couldn't use him because they haven't re-signed Amari Cooper yet, right? Was he franchised or did they re-sign Cooper? I can't remember now.
I think they did sign Cooper.
Did he get a long-term deal? Okay. As soon as I said that, I was like, wait, they franchised Dak, so they didn't franchise Cooper, so they had to have signed Cooper to a long-term deal. So, I just completely misremembered how the Cowboys handled the beginning of the offseason. So, Cooper's there. You lost Witten. I mean, you could take Lamb here.
I know, and he's an Oklahoma guy, man. I'm telling you, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know that.
That would be a dagger for Philadelphia. And you know what's going to happen? Watch him not take Lamb, and he's available for Philly, and Philly doesn't take him.
Philly takes Jefferson anyway.
No, they don't take a receiver, is what I was getting at.
Oh,
Because that's
okay.
like how
They
Pete Howie
trade out.
Roseman, right?
They just trade out.
Philly trades out altogether. But you want Hamler anyways, so.
There we go. CeeDee Lamb.
Did he? Oh,
Oklahoma.
man.
I
Well, there it
told
is. We just talked about it. It's a good pick for Dallas. It's a good pick.
Yeah,
Cooper, Lamb, Elliott, and Dak.
Yeah.
Good pick. I wonder if my dad's been watching it all. Oh, my uncle has been texting us. So, all right. So, my uncle was saying that the Dolphins were going to trade pick 18 to the Patriots so the Patriots could take CeeDee Lamb. No way.
Oh, there you go.
No way. Not happening. I'm glad it can't happen. It's over with now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, wouldn't mind Miami trading back with New England if Miami feels like they could pick up a second or third round pick, and all their guys are taken. Like right now, it's not setting up great for Miami. I'm not seeing a lot of names that I'm very interested in at 18 anymore. I wanted tackle. I would have been happy with Lamb. I don't really want them to reach for Josh Jones at 18, even though they need a tackle. Honestly, the guy that I'm most interested in Miami taking at 18 or 26 is Cesar Ruiz, the interior offensive lineman from Michigan. Now, maybe he'd be available in the second round. I just really think that he has a potential to be a long-term starter, Pro Bowl player, and that's something that Miami could really use. They added Eric Flowers to help out. And they drafted Dieter last year in the third round from Wisconsin. I think adding someone like Ruiz would be great. I'm just afraid he might not be available in the second round. I'm not sure you can take him at 18, but we'll see. So what's Miami going to do?
Yeah, they got a lot of options left. Looking back, now I wish the Niners had taken CeeDee Lamb.
Right? Yeah. It's unfortunate for you, yeah. So.
But, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, my uncle just changed. He said, no, now it's going to be Justin Jefferson. New England's going to trade up to 18 to take Jefferson in front of Philly.
Well, I'm kind of hoping for Justin Jefferson at this point, but we'll see.
Would you be interested in them taking like an edge rusher or a cornerback in the first round and then getting Hamler in the second round?
Yeah, I'm still, if they can get Jefferson at 21, I'd still want them to double down on the wide receivers if Hamler's there or someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the Eagles picks, it's one of those where like, oh man, it was starting to get you're starting to think, oh man, they might get a guy who you were expecting to be gone. But to be honest, I like Justin Jefferson. I like Denzel Mims and I like T. Higgins. So like, I'm okay with any of those three really. So the Eagles are still at a good spot.
Do you want them at 21 though, I guess is the question.
Yes, honestly I do, because just get your guy. Like, even if it's, where you're not getting, don't mess around and try and trade back too much, like, because it's not like they're high enough where they can trade back and get the kind of value that I think would make up for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they trade at this point, they're probably trading out of the first round. You know what I mean? Unless somebody is desperate for somebody, there's somebody that is really getting looked at.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like if they think Gross Matos is the guy on the edge, he's a good solid edge rusher. There aren't a ton that are really projected in the first round. So like if you think you could get him, they need the offensive weapons. And you just saw like Dallas, they just ran, they have Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak. well, you're going to need some offensive weapons. Now, you could say, all right, well, the Eagles have Wentz, so that's, a draw with Dak, right? And you could say they have Miles Sanders, and you have to give the edge to Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
as much as it pains me, because that's a Penn State-Ohio State comparison there too.
Right. But at the same time, Sanders hasn't been suspended yet at all. So, and they're not paying him. They didn't guarantee him 90-some million. So, we'll give that a benefit to the Eagles in terms of the big picture. But in terms of, don't get me wrong, I would love to make the argument, but you can't really make the argument that he's better yet. But then you go to, well, if all of the Eagles wide receivers are healthy and they add a piece or two, then all of a sudden, okay, the Eagles are better at tight end. I'd say both Eagles tight ends are better than any of the tight ends that. And then, but receiver, the Eagles, now than anyone the Eagles have. Now, if Deshaun Jackson is healthy, he could be a big guy still. He's still super fast. A piece or two, you could really get something there, but you need offensive weapons.
Yeah, for sure. So, we're really close to finding out. Miami's pick is in. They did not trade, so interested to find out. I really have no idea where they're going to go here. I mean, the draft tech model has them grabbing Houston offensive tackle Josh Jones, and while they need an offensive tackle, I really don't want them to reach, and I feel like that would be a reach. I'd be comfortable with them taking him at 26, but I'm not sure where the value is right here for what Miami needs and what's available. They could take the edge rusher from LSU. Obviously, they don't need Jordan Love. We don't have to worry about that. I wouldn't mind seeing someone like Xavier McKinney, the Alabama safety. I don't know. I mean, I'd be cool with Gross Matos just because he's a Penn Stater. That'd be great.
Right.
But, yeah. With all the tackles all the big four tackles all being gone, I'm a little disappointed, or that one of the receivers didn't drop and they make a splash there. So this pick will be interesting to me to see what Miami does at 18, and then if they stay put at 26 and find someone else in there. I'm a big fan of Antoine Winfield, the safety from Minnesota, at 26 for them. I'd be okay with one of the running backs there, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, even Hilaire, the LSU running back. I'd be cool with him towards the end of that first round. J.K. Dobbins, although I think a few of those guys would be available in the second, so I don't think they have to reach necessarily for those guys. I don't know. We'll find out.
Here we go with Goodell. Yep. He said good news for Tua.
Good news for Tua. What, are they taking Jefferson?
Austin Jackson, tackle from USC.
Ugh, I'm not a fan of that. He was not the guy that I was that high on.
Right.
So he's the 6th ranked tackle from Draft Tech, 36th overall ranked player, taken at 18.
He weighed 20 pounds at 10 weeks old, according to ESPN. So.
Well, he's listed as 6'5", 322. I mean, they filled a need at a position, so they were probably thinking Jones or Jackson would be my guess based on things that we've seen. So they added quarterback, they get the tackle. I mean, they're kind of checking off the boxes, all needs. I'm not a huge fan of Jackson there. I would have much preferred Jones or Jackson at 26, but obviously it was a need, so hopefully he can do better than my expectations. But that leaves Jefferson there on the board for Philly, which we're now 3 picks away from your Eagles making a selection.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen, and this has happened a number of times when we've sat and watched the draft for the Eagles.
They're going to trade
Yeah.
back.
They're going to trade back.
So, well, let's check out their wide receiver rankings from DraftTech.com. Lamb was their number 1, going to Dallas. He was 9th overall, number 1 receiver. Judy was next at 10th overall, 2nd receiver. Ruggs 3rd, 14th overall. Jefferson is 22 overall, and the 4th ranked wide receiver. So that would be a great placement for the Eagles to get him at 21. Yeah. T. Higgins was next, followed by Laviska Shenault and Denzel Mims. That was your total top 7 wide receivers. Jefferson's going in the first round, I would expect. I'd be interested to see if Higgins, Shenault, or Mims make it in there as well.
I know Mims has kind of flown up the charts lately, but to me right now, my ranking would be Jefferson and then Higgins and then Mims of those 3.
Now, when you consider the slotters, the speed guys like Hamler, Jalen Rager jumps up there. He's 27th overall on DraftTech's rankings, and KJ Hamler is next, and he's all the way down at 58th.
Right.
So Hamler's definitely a day 2 guy, whether that's 2nd or 3rd round, we'll find out. I wouldn't expect to see him in the first round with the way things have played out. They would have need a big run of wide receivers for Hamler to maybe sneak in at the end of the first, but he is likely a mid-end of 2nd is my guess, based on the rank and what people have said about him.
It's a perfect spot for the Eagles to pick him up.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see if that's a possibility.
I've said this to you before. Miles Sanders is announcing the Eagles' 2nd-round pick tomorrow.
That would be excellent. That would be fun.
Like one of his best friends. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think the best player available at the moment is the LSU edge rusher, Clavin Chasen, defensive end, outside linebacker, that edge position, followed by Jordan Love. So it'll be interesting to see maybe if a team decides to jump up into the end of the first round to pick him up. But looking over the teams that would be interested, probably I guess the Colts would be a team maybe interested in doing that. They got Phillip Rivers for the year, but they don't have much long-term stability. So that would definitely be an opportunity for them to do that there. Indianapolis has, I think it's...
Here we go with the Raiders pick.
Okay, so Indianapolis has the 34th pick, the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. Could Detroit be interested in someone like Jordan Love? It'll be interesting. Jacksonville, they could trade. They could maybe jump up for Jordan Love.
No. Goodell just screwed that up.
Goodell.
Well, not the pick, but he said, he was thanking Las Vegas because they were supposed to host the draft, and he said, so we're going to make it, we're going to have them host the 2020 draft. He meant 2021.
Okay, so
they drafted Damon Arnett from Ohio State.
Damon Arnett, okay.
Defensive back.
Right. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So, looking at the defensive back rankings, which we already touched on once, these, as you can see, are always fluctuate. Damon Arnett was ranked 75th on DraftTech's board. We hadn't even mentioned him when we talked about the reach for A.J. Terrell. So he was ranked as a 3rd-round selection by DraftTech, the 10th best cornerback. So they make that pick over Diggs and Fulton. Trevon Diggs and Christian Fulton still out there.
Gruden gonna Gruden.
Yep.
Right?
Well, now, no, that was Cleveland a few years ago. I was going to say, didn't Oakland take a Ohio State defensive back early a few years ago? But that was Cleveland. So, cornerbacks.
Last year they took like the third or fourth like Clemson D lineman. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cornerbacks are the head scratchers, I think, so far.
Yeah. Well, and don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like all this talk has been on the Eagles taking a wide receiver, but like, it wouldn't surprise me if they take a secondary guy. You know what I mean? Like,
or a pass rusher.
Yeah. Like,
so Draft Tech nailed the position for Las Vegas, but they had him taking Diggs, not reaching for Arnett. That one's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. That's going to be a rough write-up.
Right. Yeah.
So who's up? Jacksonville? Then we got Philadelphia?
Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville and then Philly.
All right. We'll probably end the live stream after the Philadelphia selection. It'll be close to 11 o'clock by that point anyways. I'm going to stay up and watch at least through the Miami pick. I don't know if I'll make it to the end. I got to get up early for work in the morning. That's going to be a rough wake-up call if I would make it through all the selections. But I hate missing out that end of the first round because you got teams trying to grab someone falling.
Right.
And you always have that first pick of day 2 because you get, your pick of the litter of what's left. So that Cincinnati pick.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things I love now is that you get that time off, so you get all that speculation then between the 2 days. So, oh man.
So
it'll be interesting.
The Draft Tech model has Jacksonville selecting Josh Jones, the offensive tackle from Houston. But Jacksonville is really a wild card because I feel like they could use pretty much anything. And Justin Jefferson continues to be mocked to Philadelphia, but watch them take one of the defensive linemen or defensive backs, especially because some of the defensive backs are dropping.
Right. They could get good value there in theory.
Right. At least if you take the rankings from places like Draft Tech and the Draft Network.
It's still a position of need. Like, it's not like they don't need them. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Diggs and Fulton, cornerback. I don't think any of the safeties have been taken yet. It's not a great safety class, but McKinney and Winfield Jr. and Delpit are all there. I mean, one time people were talking about Grant Delpit in the top 10. It was top 5. Right. Yeah, he didn't have a great year at LSU, and he dropped a little bit, but he's a potential option. So yeah,
Xavier McKinney is still around at Alabama.
And only one pass rusher has been taken so far, in Chase Young, and that was at the pick number 2. It's not a great class for them, but
no. And I'll be honest, like, I love Gross Matos because he played at Penn State, but like, I don't know. When I watched him, I don't mean skill wise. I meant like size wise. Now he's listed at 6'4", 262. I wouldn't have put him at that when he was on the Penn State field. You know what I mean? Like, but like I was going to say, he can't lose his speed, but he needs to get bigger. I feel like, because when you're going against, although man, like he did really well even when he was matched up against good competition, but like I'm always split when it's the Eagles potentially taking a Penn State guy, because I'm like, man, if they do great, that's awesome. But like the last thing I want is like all the fans of like my favorite professional team ripping on the guy who I was a huge fan of in college. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know that sucks. I like when Miami got Audric, and he had a few good years for Miami, but they decided not to give him a second contract. I hated seeing that, and it wasn't a Penn State thing, but it was tough watching Miami with Chad Henne because they didn't end up keeping him around. And when you have players that you like from college go to your favorite team, it really hurts when it doesn't work out.
Well, we had joked when we were talking with Chad, before that, when we were talking with, and we were like, man, the Eagles don't have a backup quarterback, on and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be awesome. But at the same time, I'm like, no, because one, I don't want it to be bad, like go bad if it did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like for my favorite team or for Chad. And then the second part, like I don't want, like when we get to talk to him and we talk to him on air, but then when we get to talk to him, like when the mics are off and everything, I don't want to find out anything that I don't want to know. Now, it's never been that way. Like he likes Andy Reid, who I liked, and, we've always had those things, but like, I don't want him to be like, oh, so-and-so's a jerk, or, like,
Right.
that
Yeah.
he doesn't do that, but like just those irrational fears in my head of like, oh gosh, I don't want to find out something I don't want to know.
All right.
The Jaguars pick is in.
I was going to say, it says pick is in on my screen too. So I think when on my screen there's a commercial. So I would think
Okay.
coming up, the Jags
they're
pick is going to be
back. They're
announced.
back. Yeah.
So just waiting for.
We're dissecting the Arnett pick, I believe, right now on mine. But
So once Jaguars are in, Eagles are on the clock. So it'd be interesting prop bet of trade, wide receiver, defensive back, or other. Those are your 4 picks. Where are you going?
Oh, they were talking with Arnett. It was interesting. Like he had to play right cornerback this year instead of left because he had broken his one wrist, so he couldn't jam receivers.
Oh, jeez.
With the other hand, so like he switched sides. Like, not that that's like, but that is an effect. But
right.
But it is some versatility. Like you can move around. But
right.
Here we go. Here's the Jacksonville pick. They took Chase on. So
they did.
Levon Chase on. Yes.
All right. I mean, that's a good pick for them. He was falling.
All right. So
it was good value.
Yes. And the Eagles are now on the clock.
There you go. We've reached that moment in time.
I'm waiting for the trade alert thing to go across. It's only a matter of time. Four. Do we have? I know I say this all the time, but have we figured out if any of the linemen were former firefighters? Like, because I think that's
you're not going to let that go, huh?
No, Danny Watkins did not pan out.
He did not. You were correct about that.
Yeah. And listen,
that's one way to put it.
It's not just him. It wasn't just him. So, oh, man. But, yeah, well, the good news is there's only 3.5 minutes left for the Eagles on the clock. So, things running. It's going.
Things are moving along.
Yes, sir.
Two-thirds of the draft mostly gone. We're approaching that point at least. So
yeah. The thing is with the Eagles here, like trading back would be an interesting thing, but a receiver's going next. Well, I shouldn't say you would assume a receiver's going next to Minnesota. But yeah.
You never know. You never.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. You never. Eagles pick is in. So they're not
okay, that was fast.
Eagles pick is in.
There they used it, so there you go. That should make you happy.
Yeah. So I did see Draft Tech graded Dallas's pick of CD Lamb as a value in A, need C. Which I'll go with that.
You're good with that?
Yeah. Yeah. They said it's clear. They said it very well may have just been a keep away game with the Eagles.
Yeah. I can't say that I disagree with that.
I agree wholeheartedly. Although I don't think Jerry necessarily views it that way. I'm telling you, the Oklahoma guy, like, he loves those Oklahoma guys.
Right.
Now they're talking to Kason, I think. Yeah.
So they're showing the Eagles wide receiver depth chart on my screen, but Greg Ward, Arcega Whiteside, Deontay Burnett, like not a lot of big names there. So what's Peterson and Roseman going to do? Do they go Jefferson?
Yeah.
They going to take? They're going to surprise us. What's going to happen? Here we go. I wonder.
Josh McNown probably has a kid old enough we could draft if we need a backup quarterback / wide receiver like we were running out there last year.
It's a possibility. Come on, Eagles. I mean, we're going to get to the pick, which is good. We're not going to get to the New England pick, so sorry, Uncle Rich, if you're still watching with us. We are going to be signing off before the New England selection is in. I don't think we would have made it into the 3-hour window that Facebook allots us.
Right.
So we are going to sign off after the Eagles pick, but I'm definitely going to watch through the Miami pick. Just will be doing it on my own, but from the comfort of my couch instead of this chair, which the podcast studio down here, my man cave has become Natalie's homeschool location as well. So,
okay.
I've got what the chair usually sit in for the podcast has become her school chair, and it's been a blast.
Here we go.
All right,
come on, Eagles. Here we go. Jalen Reagor from TCU.
okay. Well, they went receiver, just not Jefferson, Mims, or Higgins. They went with the slot speed guy. So,
Yeah.
What do you think of that initial reaction?
Well, I had heard that there was talk that he was flying up their board. I heard this about a week and a half ago. That they really liked him. Hey, they went wide receiver. I'm happy. Like, go with it. If that's who your guy was here, then I have no problem with that. I would have liked to see him get one of the guys. Like, I like Justin Jefferson and I like T. Higgins, but if Reagor's their guy, go get him.
The only problem I have with it is it basically rules out Hamler.
Yes. Now I did see a thing, and this was an interesting point. Now I don't know that it's necessarily one I would agree with, but the guy was basically like, "Don't just double down on receivers, double down on the playmaker receivers." He was basically saying,
No. So take Hamler.
It essentially was like take Reagor and Hamler, or guys like that. Like, take your speedster guys and just go with it. Like they said, on the chance that you might hit on one of them, like, just do it.
So I didn't realize that Jalen Reagor is the son of Monte Reagor, who won the Super Bowl with the Colts and Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So, but I'm Yeah, I'm on board.
You're good. You're happy with the position. And you're not down on the player. It's not as big of a splash as getting Ruggs, Judy, or Lamb.
No, it's not. It's not. But you know what? It's not. It's not like one of the big. If Ruggs or Judy or Lamb were there, yeah, I'd say absolutely. But I feel like it was those top three, and then I have Jefferson a little bit down from that, and Higgins in that same group. So I'm fine.
So you got one of your like 4 tier 2 guys. Like
absolutely.
Jefferson,
absolutely.
or I guess maybe 5, because there's probably
and the guy who was in that spot where I was kind of thinking that's one of the guys who would be in the mix with where the Eagles would be drafting. So,
all right.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good with that.
Good stuff. So we're going to wrap up our live draft discussion, episode 304, nearly 3 hours long. One of the longest shows we've ever done. Maybe the longest show we've ever done.
It probably has to be the longest show we've done.
And we appreciate everyone watching on YouTube and Twitter/Periscope. Sorry if you're watching on those. I do not have the comments up, so if anyone has been leaving comments or telling us that we're terrible, I'll have to see that in the future. We monitored Facebook a little bit, and we're happy that people were on there watching with us. And we hope you enjoyed watching 2/3 of the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. We are having a show on Sunday, Justin and I, but it will be a Bulldog Hour episode, so we won't be back on the main show here for episode 305 until the month of May. And I think that is May 3rd, if I'm reading my calendar correctly. So episode 305 of the Joe Mays J-Raff Show will be Sunday, May 3rd. Any final thoughts, Justin, on this first round as it stands while we're leaving?
No, it's been cool. I'm interested to see what happens at the back end here, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it ends up. And tomorrow is a really interesting day too, with that second and third round. We get twice as many picks and kind of start to see where things fall based on that first night. So interested to see what the Dolphins do with their first round pick. Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see if any quarterbacks sneak into these last few picks in the first round. So.
I think Love is going to sneak in there, and I think Indianapolis or Jacksonville is going to pull off that trade. They're early second round guys that could move into the end of the first round to grab Love. Yeah. I don't think he makes it to the second round, and if he does, I'd expect one of those teams to trade with Cincinnati to get him at 33. So.
Yeah. So. All right.
Well, with that, we'll say goodbye to Justin, and we'll say goodbye on the show in general. Like I said, Justin and I will be doing a show this Sunday for the Bulldog Hour, the local high school Wilson football podcast. And then we'll be back the following Sunday. We'll do a full draft recap, and I'm sure talk more pro football on episode 305 of the Joe Mays J-Raff Show. So until then, thanks for listening.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.